Hey gang, thank you guys for joining us. If you're joining us live, it's always awesome to have people in the room live to chat with and have this be very interactive. If you're watching this on the recording after it's ended, well, we hope you stick around. We'll try and make it worth your while and worth your time. So, we've had a lot of technical difficulties with this lately, but hopefully this goes off without a hitch. We've also been having some problems too with the internet. This dang Filipino internet, it's been going in and out today. These companies here in the Philippines are very, very unreliable. And Yahoo actually just did a story a few days back about how slow the internet service is in the Philippines compared to other countries and how much it costs. Basically, these companies in the Philippines, they're giving you very poor service for a lot of money. So they're making a good profit that way. But that's the way it works. Even in the United States, it just seems like these companies almost have a monopoly. And that's a bummer. We're just waiting for people to join us in the room. What would you like to say, Imabel, about anything at all while we wait?
Waiting for you guys to join us. Hi, how are you? Would love to hear from you guys. Would love to know so far the new videos that you have seen and enjoyed on Travis's channel. Let us know your thoughts and let's talk.
Well, we've had some thoughts lately on that one that I uploaded a teaser to my new video. And some thoughts were not good, but what are you gonna do? We'll talk. We can get into that a bit later.
We're going to talk about that, and then
I actually kind of want to do a whole separate video talking to that, explaining that, and not that I'm going out of my way to please people that support me and criticize me anyways. It's funny because when I get these kind of mean comments or whatever, or these comments showing their disapproval of me, it's funny because I don't see them commenting on my other videos. They just randomly show up and say, we don't like this one. I don't think they watch the other ones. To get them to watch, you have to put something that makes them, like a title or thumbnail, that makes them think that they're going to get their panties in a bunch or something like that, then they want to show up. So.
What an expression.
You've never heard that expression? Oh, there's people in the room. I'm missing the comments. Well, Brian joined us. Brian is a patron, and he's helping to make these videos and the future ones that I want to do, and I'm working on some new ones, and I'll share that in just a little bit here. So Brian, patron Brian, thanks for joining us. You've joined us for several live broadcasts now. I guess this time that we like to broadcast here, it's nighttime where we are. I take it it's early morning where you are. He says the audio is good.
Yeah, it's glad to know that audio is good right now. Thank you, Brian, for letting us know.
And Kyler Keaton is in the room. Well, thanks for joining us. Let's get started here.
Hi, Jennifer Ramirez.
And Jennifer's in the room. Hey, Jennifer. Thanks for joining us. We'll get to some of the recent controversy that I had. But before we do, let's talk about what happened tonight. Well, first of all, I was thinking about not doing this live stream. I didn't get much sleep last night. And the reason is I was up late last night, as I often am. I'm either working on something like a video, or my mind starts going and I'm coming up with ideas for videos, getting inspiration. And so I was up late, and then I woke up really early this morning to edit some video and try and get some new content out to you guys. So I didn't get much sleep, and I was thinking about, I was planning on doing this earlier. By the way, the reason we don't promote these really far ahead of time, I never know if there's going to be technical difficulties with the YouTube live streaming, and I don't want to disappoint people. So we thought about not doing this, but then I decided, you know what? I got to follow through. I got to go all out with this. I'm trying to really push this YouTube channel, make it as good as I can, do the best stuff I can.
For all of you.
And Kyler Keaton, you haven't watched any of my videos and you're just now getting to my channel? Well, how the heck did you find me if you don't watch
Kyler
my
Keaton, thank you for joining us for the first time. And to answer your question earlier, you have to watch the other video so you'll know the answer. You're missing out a lot.
How did you just? And as you showed up right in the beginning of this live stream, how did you? You're not a subscriber
we
or
wonder
viewer.
how did you find out, about this live streaming? But you know what? We
He says,
appreciate
"Shout
that.
his
Thank
name
you.
and he'll feel famous." Well, you're famous now, at least with the people that watch this video, and we appreciate you joining us. But one of the reasons I want to go through with this, I think there was a good omen tonight. It was a small thing, but I think it's not the actual benefit I get from the event that happened tonight. It's just like a sign, an omen, and Brian's at work, but it's dead there. You're gonna have to let us know what you do. But anyways, we were leaving the grocery store. I was picking up. I bought some frozen strawberries and some soda, some Pepsi Max. They're not a sponsor or anything, but to try and wake me up for this. And when we were leaving, I found I saw some money on the ground outside. It was kind of in this area where cars, like private cars, park, and there was just some cash on the ground. I got eyes like an eagle, so I zoned in on that. I picked it up. It was a good little amount. It was 240 pesos, which is
2 pieces of 100 peso bills and two
220s.
220 bills. So and then we saw this one girl selling some fajita garland.
A street child.
A street child. So I said, let's just share like the 20 pieces with her.
Yeah. So I found 240, which is if you don't know the conversion, it's I think a little less than $5 or around $5, give or take. I think a little bit less than that. But so there's 200s, 220s, and you said let's give 20 to the street child, and I was good with that because hey, I just found it. It's found money, so might as well share it. But also giving away 20 if we gave away 20 pesos, that would leave me with 220, and I'm good with that because 220 is a significant number in my life. So that's another sign. I had 240, and it was a sign that you should give away 20, and then you can have that 220, which is a significant number. It's like some sort of omen. It's like God's trying to tell me something, huh?
Well, God is good all the time, and thankfully, audio is good, right? And then Kyler Keaton commented again. He said, you commented on a video that said your channel wasn't down. So I was like, who is this?
And you just tuned in for a live stream.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I guess you just saw that comment I left. Oh, yeah. I think I know that it's I think it's an Australian guy that said he's having some sort of problems between him and Google, where he claims they're messing with his channel. But I don't know exactly what his complaint is. I think that's the one.
I hope things get better, whatever your concern is, Kyler. And thank you for joining us.
But I was just saying, this always happens during the live stream because I get distracted by the comments. But I was saying, and she's pointing at a thing distracting me, saying, be distracted. That's what she did. She just hit that thing to distract me and make me read something that says, this is it. Don't be distracted. So she distracted me with that.
Just with this.
But why is 220 a significant number in my life? And even Imabel didn't know this. And because I told her, I said, you didn't know that.
Yeah, but you told me.
I told you about other significant numbers in my life.
No, before tonight,
but you didn't know
that
this
already. The 220?
Let me ask you this as a trivia question. Well, of course, you know the answer, so you're going to tell them. But this is the lead-in question. In the state of North Dakota, when they started the 220-pound weight class.
In what year?
Who is the first champion in that weight class?
Who else?
It was me. I'm the first ever North Dakota state wrestling champion in the 220-pound weight division because it was a new division my senior year. And I only weighed in at 185 pounds, so I was actually too small for my own weight class, which was 189. I was underweight for that. But we bumped me up intentionally because our coaches, they had like a master plan to win the state championships as a team. And the way to do it, they figured out mathematically, they needed to have so many people take first place in the state championship. They knew I was going to do it at 189. 220 was a new weight class, and they formulated this plan that because we had this other guy that was a decent wrestler, but he really didn't deserve to win first place. He wasn't that good. But the plan was all year long, we're going to have me wrestle at 189, so everyone thinks that that's just the weight I'm going. But then at the regional tournament, which is the qualifier, they're going to bump me up to 220, and they're going to bump him up to 189 because all the other tough guys that had a chance at winning a state championship, they know, I have a shot at winning, but I can't win if I have to go against Kraft. So they would go to either 171 or 220. So it made, because I was in 189 and all the best guys that thought they had a chance of winning went to other weight classes to avoid me, it left 189 to be a fairly weak weight class. But then I bumped up at the qualifier and we bumped that other guy. He ended up winning a state championship too. And it was my third state championship that I won. So my previous ones were at 189 the year before and 171.
Guys, listen up so you could answer the quiz later. Just kidding.
Yeah, the quiz is, what weight classes did Travis win his state championships at? 171, 189, 220.
By the way, I'm proud of this guy. 3-time state wrestling champion. Yee.
But I'll tell you another significant number in my life, another weight class I competed in. As a freshman, I competed at 152. Mm-hmm. And I had to cut weight for that. And I tell you, if you're a wrestler, any weight class that you have to make weight, especially if you're cutting a lot of weight, you will have that number burned into your mind the rest of your life. So I remember having to weigh 152 pounds every week and hating it. I hated having to get down to that weight. It was like such a struggle, and a high school season is 3 months. Mm-hmm. So that's 3 months of constantly having to watch what I eat, dieting, always like thinking about my weight, having to deprive myself for 3 months. It's a miserable way to live. It was worth it. I ended up taking 4th place that year. That was my freshman year. But then I won as a sophomore, junior, and senior. Mm-hmm. And it was a very tough weight class because I was only 15, and I was going against kids that are 18 that are really like grown men. And those guys are very big, strong, athletic guys, being like more of a middleweight, upper to middleweight weight classes. Mm-hmm. You're going against muscular, manly, athletic type guys. Mm-hmm. So I was going against some beasts. So taking 4th place as a freshman in a very tough weight class was also very impressive. But man, I sure remember all these years later, I still remember suffering to get down to that weight class all those 3 months.
But that suffering truly,
it builds character.
Yeah, it taught you discipline, like what you were telling me. And hold on, by the way, maybe we can pause to say thank you since he's already in the room. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, let's.
Hold on.
I think a lot of people know this, especially with if they didn't see my first couple videos about it, they saw that last one, and then some people got angry. But you know what? They weren't going to support me anyways. And you can't please everyone. If you're going to be an artist, you got to put yourself out there, man, and you got to do what you think is right. And I'll explain my reasoning for doing that teaser video that upset a few people. I'll explain why I did it the way I did it, even if some people are saying, oh, you're a bad guy for doing that. So there's justification. They're only seeing it from their point of view. They can't see it from the eyes of a creator or an artist. And I'll explain how it is if you're creating it from my point of view, why I did what I did, even if it upset a few people.
Before you talk further about it, I'm not sure if I just missed it. I wasn't totally listening. That teaser that he's talking about is on Travis's YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out yet,
Sex on Display in the Philippines.
That's a teaser.
That's what the title is.
That's a teaser to the main, very interesting documentary that we shot in Burgos.
It's a short documentary. Don't think it's like a feature film.
It's shorts, and it's entertaining and informative.
People have seen it. The patrons have seen it. Brian, I take it, has seen it.
Yeah. we got mixed.
Brian has seen
Yeah,
it.
we got mixed, different kinds of comments and feedback.
On the teaser.
On the teaser.
Some people really
But
like the teaser.
the
People
thing
email
is-
me saying,
yeah,
I like that.
The thing is, some people said they don't like it, but if you really watch the main documentary, the video, you wouldn't think it's really bad. In fact,
Okay,
hold on. In fact, Brian just shared something about it on the earlier comments. You can go down. But while you do
did
that,
I miss it?
yeah, we missed it. I saw it earlier. Before that, should I show this to them already and start? While you're
Yes,
browsing?
let me introduce it real quick. A lot of you, Kyler wouldn't know this because apparently he's never seen any of my videos. This is his first time. And I hope after this broadcast he checks out some of my videos, and I hope he has a good time doing it. But recently I started this Patreon campaign, which if you don't know what Patreon is, it's like Kickstarter, except it's more like ongoing. Kickstarter, like in Indiegogo, it's like you need a bunch of money all in one big chunk. This is something that's ongoing, and you can get smaller amounts of money, but since it's ongoing, it can help you keep you afloat for your content that you need funding. Because the bottom line is, high quality content costs money to do. I've funded all these videos for years, and some of these are high end, and they do cost me money to make. I have to go out and shoot this stuff, and I have expenses, and it's getting to the point where there's, I say, why am I doing this? Because I can't make money out of this. People say the ads, but that's they don't realize how little that pays.
Sense.
Like one guy, yeah, and if you do a video that gets 3, 4, 5,000 views, you're not making any money off of it. And keep in mind too, if your views are coming from the Philippines, they're not worth much at all, those views. The only views that really can generate money, and it's even still very little, is views coming from the United States. I guess Ronnie Rodriguez.
Hi, he
Rodriguez.
said, hey Travis and Ema.
Was a wrestler too.
Cool.
At 132.
That's interesting to know. By the way, Ronnie, it's so nice that Ronnie asks when we're gonna do this again, and thank you that you're around. Last time you were with us, also I remember Jennifer Ramirez and of course Brian, Mitchell Luke. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And then, if you're ready, we can segue.
I never
to
say
this.
Brian's last name because I'm so worried that I'll mess it up. Sorry, Brian. But anyways, I had this Patreon campaign going, and it just got going. We don't have a lot of people doing it yet because I know people are a little bit hesitant, and they don't know why. A lot of people don't know why they should yet. But we're rolling out all the exclusives, and I'm just getting started on all the exclusives and all the reasons why they should support, all the extra stuff that they're going to get that's going to make it worth it. So let's show the some of the supporters so far.
Thank you, dearest patrons. Starting with
You do this. You're like the Vanna White of the Patreon.
you're already around. So one of our patrons. Thank you so much, Brian Michaluk.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
Thank you, and let's give him a big hand.
It's hard
Thank
to
you.
because the square aspect ratio to be in this both at the same time. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about these guys.
Okay, so we're gonna move on, even if
Yeah,
they're not
just go
yet
through them.
here.
Just go through them, and then we'll go on and on.
Okay, next, thank you also to another patron, Chris Vinci. Thank you so much.
Yes, Chris was the first person that pledged, and he did $50, which is a big one. So that's how much he believes in me. He has faith in me, and knows and trusts my vision, even if some people got angry at the teaser I uploaded for the first exclusive. He knows where I'm coming from, and the patrons that will pledge their support and help want to contribute making this, they know where I'm coming from. They trust me. They know what I'm doing. So let's go on to
Another patron. We would like to thank you,
Corey. And Corey's been a bit of a newer viewer, I believe. He just started watching this year, 2014. And Chris, too. Chris, I think, is very recent. And Brian, I don't know how long you've been watching.
You know what? I didn't say the last name. Is it Corey Risu?
Risu.
I hope I
Russo,
pronounced
Russo.
it, or Russo. Correct
That sounds
me.
like
Just,
French.
Just correct me.
I know
if
it's
I'm
another
wrong.
kind of unusual name. It's like a French.
But it's written, so you see
I
it.
think you misspelled this one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. Sorry about this one. I think
I can
just show it
correct
is. No, just show it. Like I'll acknowledge it. So Scott's new. I think that his name only has one L in it, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Scott, thank you so much.
Scott Dowland.
And we have here Jim. Jim is new. Jim, welcome to the family. Thank you. And we're so old school, like in terms of this. We should have like some sort of tablet or something but all we have is this, and we're using it.
Yeah.
So they could just scroll by as we talk. I'll work on something like that for the future. But for now, we're going old school style.
But they see it.
But they see it.
That's clear.
And Judo Lloyd, he's a martial artist.
Wow.
From San Jose, California, which is kind of a hotbed. Kung Lee lives there. Frank Shamrock.
Cool.
They have all sorts of world-class fighters that live in that area.
Also another.
But I've never been there, and I'm sure it's quite an interesting place, though.
Another patron. Thank you so much. This is
Jim. Jim is.
Oh, we already
Jim's new
mentioned that?
too.
No.
I don't know.
Okay, Jim.
Out.
I know. We're just checking something. I hope you can still stick around.
It says it's going. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we might have had a
We
glitch
have-
there. The
we have to
YouTube thing
check.
said that we were
We
getting.
have to check every
that it-
now and then
the-
the status.
The YouTube thing said it quit transmitting. And I was just about to get into Furious Pete. Well, a few weeks ago, he has a pet dog, and his dog needed emergency surgery.
Mm-hmm.
He spent $5,000 getting the surgery, but then it turned out his dog needed the second surgery, so he needed another $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have it. He was all tapped out after the first one. So he released a video on YouTube where he was very emotional and broke down into tears and just said, look, it's not that I want to do this, but my dog needs this, please help me. And within like a couple hours, he was looking for $5,000 just to cover the second surgery. Within like a couple hours, I think, he had over $10,000 of pledges from supporters. I mean, he's very popular, so it was very easy to work out. He didn't expect it to be that successful. Like I said, it literally took like a matter of hours. He had like doubled what he was asking for. So he did that, and he got his dog the surgery. But then shortly after that, I guess there was a little bit of controversy because he had videos where he was in Italy with his girlfriend, and then people started leaving comments, I guess. It lagged, I guess, for a few seconds. Anyways, after he raised this money through crowdfunding, which was supposed to be for his dog's surgery, I guess there was videos of him popping up in Italy with his girlfriend, and he went there for part of a competition. He's a competitive eater for a Guinness World Record thing. And today he released a video responding to that criticism because people think that he's just running a scam. And the whole thing was to go on vacation to Europe with his girlfriend. But he released a video today. He was also very emotional. Mm-hmm. The criticisms and the hate got to him of people calling him a scammer and stuff. So he showed his
official receipts.
He showed his receipts, like with the doctor bills and the hospital fees and stuff for his dog. And he talked about how, yes, he went to Italy with his girlfriend, but it was all paid for. It was all expenses paid as part of the Guinness World Record competition. Mm-hmm. And, I expect, here's the thing. Before I did my Patreon, I expected to have some, kind of hate of people saying, oh, you're running a scam. Or one guy said, your YouTube channel, I did math on it. Your YouTube channel's made $50,000 and it brings in $1,500 per month. I mean, where he got these figures from is just ridiculous because I can tell you that's not the case. But I knew, actually, I didn't really get that much hate about it. I only got hate on the teaser for the first exclusive for that documentary we did, and I'll get to that. But Furious Pete, getting that... Oh, Brian has to leave because he has to go back to work. But Furious Pete, he let those people, I know, because I know I've studied this. I pay attention when other creators do crowdfunding. And people are always like that, and people are going to try and mess with you mentally on YouTube. And it's for many people, it's not an easy thing to deal with. I get it a lot, but I'll be honest, I don't let it affect me. I so expect hatred from people. I get hateful comments every day, but my attitude is it just rolls off my back. It's nothing to me. But I can understand how so many creators on YouTube, it really does affect them, and it can really mess with them mentally. But here's one reason why it doesn't mess with me, despite my recent criticisms, is, look, I don't need other people to check me morally. I check myself morally. I'm an adult man. I'm not a young guy anymore to where I'm going to go on the internet and do foolish things. So if I'm going to post something on the internet, I make sure it's something I'm not ashamed of, something that's okay, that I'm okay having my name on, having my face on it. If it's a video like this, I make sure that what I'm doing, I'm okay with. And someone from Bosnia joined us. Well, hello.
Hi, alter ego.
Alter egos joining us from Bosnia. But I'll explain the controversy, and I'm actually probably going to do a separate video because these live streams, they're more for a select audience of people that like to, are more interested and want to go that extra mile, and they get these extra tidbits and get to learn more about me and my life in general, life in the Philippines, my life in America. We can talk about that. I love the United States, and I didn't come to the Philippines because I didn't like life in America. I had a blast in America. So if anyone wants to ask me questions about anything in the United States of my life experiences, it's cool, man, because I've had an awesome life. So if someone wants to know something, I'm happy to share it with them. But I'll get to the controversy. Basically, and like I said, I am going to do a separate video about this where I explain this to everyone. I released a teaser where I show about 30 seconds of footage that we shot, and then it's about a minute of me talking, hey, this is, patrons get an exclusive video that I didn't want to release on YouTube. It takes place in a red light district, and it's just a profile of this particular neighborhood in Makati. But the thing is, I'll be honest, the footage I showed in the teaser and the way it was done is not really representative of the actual documentary. Even you thought, I'd rather just have the real video, the documentary on, than the teaser, because actually the teaser is more sexual than the actual documentary. The documentary, and I said this in the description of the video, and I said it in my spiel at the end, the video is a profile of Burgos Street in Makati. It's not about sex, it's not about prostitution. However, there are prostitutes in it. We do go to bars, and I don't think there's anything wrong with showing that because people are curious, especially if you're from a place like the United States. They don't have red light districts in the United States. It's my way. Like in all my videos, I like to bring people places that they've never been before, show them things that they haven't seen. And a lot of people haven't seen a red light district in Asia, and this is just my way of bringing them there and showing them to it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with showing something like this. We take a look at it from a cultural perspective, just like most of my videos. And one of my patrons that saw the actual documentary, he said, boy, people got angry about the teaser, but there's nothing bad about this video. It's in the same style as the other ones. It's fun and light, and there's nothing offensive about this, even if it's in a red light district. Mm-hmm. But the teaser is like, I emphasized sex a little bit more. I even put that, like, I put sex in the Philippines, like the graphics on the actual video that said sex in the Philippines, and showing prostitutes, and it was very fast cut. I put in sound effects of women climaxing. But to me, that was just an artistic choice because the viewpoint that I came when I made this is there's a couple things. Some of that footage from the teaser is in the actual video, and like I didn't want to show it in the same way. I wanted to make it very different. But also the idea was to make it kind of like a fun, light-hearted music video. Even if we're showing prostitutes, I want to give it a sense of fun and make it like a fast-paced, fast-cut little music video that's 30 seconds long and just kind of make it cool and stuff. And to me, it was I put effort into it, spending time, trying to make it artistic with designing the graphics, giving things kind of a 3D look, cutting things to have a certain effect. But people said like, oh, he's showing prostitutes. He's making the Philippines look bad. Look, man, people know there's prostitutes in the Philippines. Do we need to hide that? A lot of people come here from that. And I just want to let people know that I have this little documentary that we shot there. By the way, the area is not bad. There's a lot of good things about the area. There's good places to eat, good businesses around, because they cater to foreigners in general, not just with prostitutes. But I'm very proud of the video. I'm proud of the teaser. I think I did a good job artistically. And those people that didn't like it, well, they don't really support me anyways. Most of them, I'd never seen comment before on any of my other videos. They just showed up for this. And it could be, too, because there's some people, I'm onto people on YouTube. I spend a lot of time on this website. I've been uploading videos for 7 years now. And I know there's people that are fans, and they have one profile that they leave nice comments from, but then they immediately log into another one that's more anonymous, and they'll say a bad thing to you trying to get your attention. Mm-hmm. I'm on to those guys.
Let me say something. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna say. Like what you said earlier. Personally, I like the main documentary. I
like them both. They're different. They're apples and oranges. Okay.
They're both good, well done in terms of artistry, creativity. He's really a brilliant artist, and kudos to that. Now, if I would have to choose, actually, I like the main documentary, the main video more. And for you guys to be able to watch that, you can be our patron.
All you gotta do, go as a pledge, and as a thank you,
that you can watch that.
And we're gonna have more awesome stuff that are exclusive for just patrons, because they deserve things for supporting me. I know people. I talked about this in a video even before we released the teaser. Saying some people are gonna say, "Oh, Travis is charging for videos now." I'm not charging for one thing. That was something that I shot 2 months ago. As you can see, I have a beard and I have facial hair. I have that goatee. And it was shot obviously a couple months ago when I had that. I had a skin infection that time. Right there. And I didn't want to just grow a mustache. That's why I had that. But I kind of liked it after a while, but obviously shaving it off there. So obviously it's done a while back when I had that.
Let me say something again. That I lost it. Hold on. Speaking of that main video, the documentary that is available to our patrons, just like Brian Mitchell. Brian already saw it, one of our patrons. He said, love the first Patreon one, referring to that documentary we're talking about. It was both fun and gave a peek into place I am sure people are curious about. So on that note, the video contradictory to the negative comments we
By the way,
saw,
they weren't all negative. Some people said it's awesome.
Yeah. Contrary to some or a few negative comments on the teaser, well, the video is to inform and to entertain. Yes. And then, personally, the video is there not to encourage prostitution or to condemn it.
Yeah, it's not judgmental.
It's just like when we had already documentaries, featuring other areas like Quiapo, Manila itself, Binondo, Manila, Quezon City. So it's just like that. Of course, it's a different place. So you'll see those things, and then that's it.
Yes, and part of the reason I made it, used the word sex in the title. I know that's going to get attention from people. If you put a boring title, people aren't going to do it. And a lot of people, it's funny, these people that complain, oh, you're doing something sexual. Well, first of all, you don't watch my other videos. My videos on this channel I'm very proud of. For the most part, they're very wholesome and clean. And you're distracting me.
Sorry.
Anyways, you made me lose my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, so it's kind of weird to me that if you're so against sex or anything sexual, that you would click a video with that in the title. I think it says something about the people that do that. By the way, like I said, this channel is known for very wholesome, innocent, for very wholesome things, being all ages friendly. However, if you really have been watching me, I have a history of making some sexual videos. They're not dirty videos, they're not pornographic or anything. If you look at the #1 video on this channel that has over 6 million people have watched it, it's a sexual video, man. So it's not like, even though it's not something that most of my videos are about, especially in the past few years, it's not something I'm hiding. They're right on this channel. My #1 video, which has over 6 million hits, even has the word sexual in the title. It's called Sexual Understanding, a short film that I directed and starred in.
But of course, because people, when they hear the word sex, there's negativity that is associated to that.
Not to me.
No, for some people, that's why they react that way, okay? And in fairness to the video, to these videos that he mentioned, they are really done in a, artistically. And it really depends on the person who watches it.
Oh no, I hope I didn't end it. I think I ended it. I didn't know it was going to.
I hope it's still there. Oh, it's there. It's back. Are you still?
I think we had a technical glitch.
Yeah. Tell us if we lost you or vice versa, because there was some kind of glitch that we noticed.
Yes. And now I lost the comments in the same way.
No, it should be there.
They're all out of order now. Oh my god. Is this screwed up? Because see, it's not, I don't think it's continuing.
Let me message.
If you guys are still in the room and watching us and this is continuing, let us know. I hope we did have a glitch. It says something about trying to figure this out.
I can check this one. I hope you guys are okay there. We're trying to figure out something. And if you still see us,
if you leave us a comment if this is continuing. We don't know if it got cut off or not.
Yeah, we can just look at these.
So just leave us a comment if you're still in the room.
Let me check my Facebook. By the way, if you still can see us or hear us, if you're not watching, feel free to leave a comment. Let us know if it's working well from on your end, because we're not sure if this is really working well.
Yeah, like I said, it told us it cut out for a minute, that it ended. So, anyways, let's continue on.
Let's see if they're saying something.
I think we're getting the comments. So just say something. Like I said, there is a delay from. It really broke our rhythm. But there is a delay from the time we say something to the time that you guys hear us say it. If you're watching live, I think it's about 2 minutes delayed. So even though we just said let us know if you guys are still getting the broadcast, it's going to be it's still going to be like another minute or two.
Thank you so
Ronnie
much.
likes the slap video. Yeah, I liked that one too because it was something different. It's been a while since I've made videos like that kind of have that, they're more just straight on the humor side and aren't about trying to inform people about anything. It's just pure entertainment. And the goal for this channel has always been since the beginning, really, to just try and, it's very focused on entertainment. I always want to focus on entertainment because my philosophy was that I can kind of make the world a better place for people if I can at least just make them smile, even if it's only momentarily, even if it's only a minute out of their day with a short video. So they see us, I guess, Brian says audio's good, normal pauses once in a while, but the replay will look for, yeah. All these technical glitches, it's disappointing that Google hasn't put more effort. We should have mentioned this to Google. We were just at Google's office about a week ago in Makati. So.
And before I forget, back to S2 Shans. Is that S2 Shans or is it S2 Shans or CN? CN's comment earlier, like about giving a tour. Just feel
I
free
thought we
to.
covered that.
No, but I wanted to add something, but you interrupted me. So if you can just feel free to contact us, and it'll be good if you tell us beforehand so we can check our schedule.
Yes, and I'm just going through the other comments that we might have missed. Things got screwed up and they all went out of order for a bit. So
You can check the other page, I guess.
the other
And
page.
while we're checking something here, so you don't get bored.
Hopefully this is still working. Again, it says our stream status
Yeah.
is bad.
You can
Sometimes it says good, and then it says it's bad.
yeah.
Like now.
And then for you guys, if you're curious how to
You should hit that.
to make a pledge,
I was gonna say, okay, you go.
you can. This is the website, right?
Yeah, that's the website.
Yeah.
The link is in the description. You can show it though.
You can check this out. See more of this. So
See more of that. See more butts like are in my video. I had a lot of butts in that video, I'll admit. But then one guy criticized me too. He said, "Oh my God, Travis, you're showing butts shaking. You know, you shouldn't be doing this." Like, look, if a movie director has a scene that has a butt shaking in it, or a scene with a naked woman, does that mean that the director is a bad guy? But like I said, these people don't understand my point of view and how I'm trying to put something out artistic. It's artistic and fun. And it's funny, the first comment said, "Oh, there's going to be prostitutes in this video. I hope you're showing the negative side of it." It's funny because some of my videos lately, they've showed very truthful things. People said, "Man, Travis, you're negative these days." And like now here's a guy asking me to do a negative video when really I just wanted to do a fun video. The documentary itself, it's not actually about prostitution or sex. It's just a profile of that neighborhood. It happens to be a red light district, but I think it's okay to show people that just to get people kind of an experience, people that have never seen something like that, just to open people's minds, expand their horizons. The more things that you see in life, usually, the better, because it always can kind of open your mind. You know, like let's say you've never seen a African lion before. Yeah, I think seeing one's a good thing. You know, it's just seeing more stuff. That's all. Just exposing people to things they haven't been to before. But I want to keep this broadcast a little shorter. So get your questions in. And Ronnie said he showed the slap to my friend. Well, I'm glad that people are sharing that. It didn't get as many hits, though, as the one that said sex on display in the Philippines. It shows you there's something about that. Even if people are going to, say they're offended, they still click it. So, I mean, come on, how offended can you be? You didn't watch or comment on those other ones. The people that hate it only watch that. It's like they're looking to be offended. But thank you for sharing the slap video. That's probably one of the best ones that I've did in a while, even though it's very short.
Ronnie Rodriguez, you cracked me up.
She loved shooting that one because she got to slap me. She got to hit me in that one.
I got sore though because I really had to exert effort to do that.
Ronnie says Ema needs to slap that rude person. He's not talking about me. He's talking about that other person, but we blocked him. And honestly, that's how I wasn't acknowledging them when they were in the room before. But that guy, he's actually commented on some of my other videos. I don't know why I guess I missed blocking him. I'm very liberal with the block button. That's one of the reasons negative comments and hateful comments towards me don't bother me. I just block them, don't pay attention to them, and the good ones, the good compliments that people like, I focus on those. So that's one reason I think that those things don't get to me as much as they get to a lot of other creators. But those other creators, like I said, Furious Pete, who really affected him, people calling him a scammer. He was very visibly upset. I understand where they're coming from, man. But my philosophy is you just can't let it get to you. You got to be a Zen master about it and not get worked up. You got to kind of, just let it slide. That's my philosophy.
That's his philosophy. And mine is,
and
let the peace of God
And
just being you.
so yeah, and even like anyone, look, there's a lot of harassment over the internet these days, especially for people that create things, especially on YouTube. The comments are very trolly, but regular people too, they're gonna have people that hate on them in real life. Even you can't avoid it. The best thing you can do is just try not to let yourself go there. There's another creator that I watch. His videos are very like he doesn't swear or anything in them, but if you see him on Google Plus, he's telling like people that are leaving mean comments for him to F off and things like that. Now, me, I understand how you could want to tell your viewers to F off, but to me, my philosophy is don't even go there. I'll just block them, ignore them, and don't get to the point where you're swearing at your viewers. But I understand definitely how you could want to, but like I said, you just can't get that emotional about negative stuff. You just got to let it slide and block them and move on.
And you can't really deal with foolish people.
Ronnie says you see booty on music videos. Yeah, that's kind of like this one. Like I had booty in it, but but I was kind of thinking, yeah, it should be like kind of a cool like electronic type music video. And if you watch a lot of my stuff, especially my older stuff, much of it is very music video style. Music videos have been a very big influence on me. So I was kind of thinking like that one was going to be like that genre of electronic techno type style videos.
I really just want to share my thought. Like what I said, he really did a great job on that teaser and the documentary. Personally, there's just a very tiny element that I really didn't like, and he knows it. But still, he's the artist.
I'll tell him what she didn't like.
He's the artist. So I just let it. He does it.
Like I put in those sound effects. It's not just the music. I did put in sound effects of a woman, making those sounds.
That sound.
And she thought I put in too many of them.
Yeah, I was telling him it could have been shorter and kind of like simpler, so it can just be more of a teasing sound. But it's his style, it's his art, so well, that's it. But still, it's good. It's well done. It's informative and entertaining. And again, if you just joined us, that teaser, or the main video doesn't condemn or condone prostitution.
Yeah, I mean, look, prostitution. There's a lot of it in the Philippines. There's a lot of it all over the world. Before there was such a word like sin, prostitution had already been going on for thousands of years. And these girls, most of them in that area in Burgos Street, they're not kids. They're not forced into it in slavery. They're adults that made a decision to do it. Now, is it the best job that they could be doing? No. Is it ideal? No. But they made a choice, and if they're okay with it, I'm not going to judge them. They're doing what they feel they need to do. There's no way I would judge someone like that. And, really prostitution, I don't even think it should be a crime. Not that I'm for it. I'm not for it. But it's pointless to arrest those people. I used to be very against it and very conservative when I was young. And I thought, yeah, they should be thrown in jail and stuff, and they're evil, bad people. But I changed my mind on prostitutes first when I came to the Philippines, because then I met some. And then I understood, well, they're not bad people.
You met some.
I did meet some. This is in 2003. I did meet some, just around. There's so many of them. I stayed in Makati. By the way, if you've been to Glory, was it Glory?
Make it clear to them, you just met them.
Yeah, but I talked to them and stuff.
No attachment.
I'm not worried about people thinking of that. If people can think whatever they want, I'm secure in who I am. But yes, I met some. I talked to some. I realized they're not bad people or evil people the way most Americans would think. And then I heard another guy talking about prostitution one time in the United States, about how it shouldn't be illegal because he said it's a victimless crime. And then I got to thinking, and I thought, well, yeah, who is? Like I said, assuming that it's not children or it's not people that are forced into it through slavery. If it's adults doing it of their own free will and their decision, I was thinking, yeah, it's a crime, but who's the victim in that crime? And I thought it's kind of hard to argue against that logic. It is a victimless crime. I think in crimes in general, I think that there's just too many laws outlawing too many things in general, because we don't need more. We don't need to create criminals over minor offenses, especially things that people aren't really being hurt. We don't need to make criminals when there would be no. We need less criminals, and they should stick to the important things, the obvious things: murder, theft, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's your opinion. Can I share my opinion?
Ronnie likes Def Leppard and Kiss. That's too old school for me, man. I'm more of like a Stone Temple Pilots guy. I'm more of like that vibe, which is also now considered old. That's considered classic rock. If you play that for a guy in his teens or 20s now, they'll say, "Oh man, you're old school. That's old stuff."
Yeah. Let me just say something. You
Go
said
ahead.
prostitution is a victimless crime.
Yes.
What if the prostitute has HIV, or the
And she's spreading it?
or the customer has HIV? So there's a victim.
But what if someone has HIV and they spread it without charging? It's the same thing, whether someone's charging or not. There's people that spread HIV. By the way, if they do that knowingly, that is a crime. That is against the law, and they will be prosecuted for it. There's been a number of cases in the United States where people were arrested and charged with like attempted murder for they knew they had HIV or AIDS, and they went out and did irresponsible behavior anyways. So
Well, I mean,
whether there's money involved or not, there's people that do that.
like what I said.
And that, to me, that's kind of a separate issue.
Like what I said in the main documentary. I don't have the right to judge or to condemn these prostitutes. But my point is, if you can do a decent job, why don't you do it?
Well, I'll tell you why.
No, hold on. I think, no offense, but I think some of these prostitutes, they can just be lazy, or they just want easy money.
Yeah.
You can, no.
I don't.
No, I can't really understand. Why do you have to...
She's more judgmental than me, in case you haven't
My
noticed.
personal opinion is, why do you have to sell your body? That's the only...
Well, let me tell you why
That's the
they do
only
it.
thing you have. If you don't have money, your body, which is the temple
Exactly,
of the Holy
they're
Spirit,
using what they have.
No, if that's the only one thing this asset you
They're
have,
selling the
then
product
take
they
care of
have
it.
that people want.
You're like trashing it. But of course, those who...
It's their decision. They're making a
know,
decision.
but
Like I said, is it an
if-
ideal job? No. But the security guard that works downstairs, and he's basically working for slave wages, is that an ideal job? Does anyone stand up for those guys' rights?
But-
there's so many people in the Philippines. There is a minimum wage in this country, and there's so many people that are taken advantage of and abused by their own people, by other Filipinos. They're not being paid the minimum wage, just like that lady that worked at another place that's responsible for us getting robbed. She was overworked and paid below the minimum wage. What about that? And look, why do these girls do it? I learned on my first trip over here.
God, you really got immersed with these girls.
Well, are you going to let me explain?
Go ahead.
Is what I learned is that some of these girls here, especially if they're with a guy from another country, they can make in one night what they would have to work hard working for a month. They'll make the same amount in one night, and often to be with a guy that they would want to be with anyways. And I felt like, look, if they can make a little bit of money that's equal to a month's wage working a harder job, it's kind of hard to blame them for that, especially when they're with guys that they would probably like to be with anyways. So, I learned, I came over here in 2003. I had that typical conservative American attitude of prostitutes are bad people, or they're lazy, or they're responsible for all this vice in the world. But then I learned, hey man, they're human beings trying to make their way in the world, and they might not be making the best decision, but they're doing what they need to see fit, and it's not up to me to tell someone. I can only advise people. Even on this channel, I try and tell people or show people things that will help them. But then the ball is in their court. They can listen to me, or they can disagree with me, or whatever. I just try and put things out there to help, to share my philosophy of things that will help people as best as I can. But then, if someone doesn't want to take it, they don't want to take it. That's up to them.
Well, here's my point. I'm not perfect. They're not perfect. We're all sinners. But the thing is, I'm I'm not gonna tell them. I'm not gonna condemn them. That I know what's right. I mean, we can always know what's right or wrong, right? If they already that's wrong, I guess those. Because remember we saw.
But
Hold
here's
on.
something that we talked
No,
about
remember,
lately.
remember, you told me we saw this one girl when we were shooting it. You said you saw her in 2006.
Yes,
And
I
this
used to
year-
live in that
and
area, by
this
the way.
year-
Not for prostitutes, but it is an area that's good for
Yeah, I also
foreigners.
that was my first time to see that place because that's where he used to live back then. It was in 2006. And then
Jennifer says, yes, in
and-
the USA it's a crime. That's a good point, Jennifer. I'll let you finish, but Jennifer said, yes, in the USA it's a crime. Let me tell you something, Jennifer. It's a crime in the Philippines, too, but if you go Burgos Street, you would never know it because it's so out in the open. And they have police right there, too, like just, because there's police to monitor the area and make sure things
Keys in
are
order.
safe. So there are police and it's out in the open. So, but it is illegal in the Philippines here. People think it's legal in Thailand because Thailand is like Burgos Street, but on steroids. Thailand, it's like really in your face. Or they'll have bright neon signs saying sex right in your face. But so people assume they assume it's legal in Thailand. It's not legal in Thailand. Technically, it's against the law. It's against the law here. But you just never know it by going to these places because it's out in the open. It's not a hidden thing. Okay, finish.
Okay, it's now my turn. What I was saying is, going back to this girl, he told me he saw that girl in 2006, and we went back to shoot the documentary. She was still there. How many years was that, right? So
7.
Don't
So
interrupt me,
8,
please.
8.
First, let me continue because I'll lose my thought.
Well, you said how many years was it?
Yeah, good math. So with that time span, she should have already, even like before this year, she should have already saved money and maybe like tried to do something else, like maybe invest in a business or something. They should, what I think is they could like try to do something else unless they just enjoy that thing, but
Maybe they do.
another thing, I said this on the documentary.
She's interviewed briefly in it. She
I
gives her a
said-
female point of view, but a
If-
very conservative
if I
female point of
could
view.
do something for them, I would, but it's their decision. And another thing is, why can't you do something?
Again, because they can make a lot more money in a lot shorter time.
Are you telling me if you were one of them, you really do it? You
I
would do it?
Look, I can't say what I would do if I was a poor girl from the Philippines or if I was someone else that's not me. I can only say what I do and say what I might do. Hey, they probably didn't grow up thinking they would do it, but circumstances came up. I haven't walked in their shoes. Man, I haven't, I don't know their point of view. Just like I was complaining, these people that criticize me, they don't understand. I realize they just don't understand my point of view. Honestly, I don't understand their point of view. I don't understand their life, and I don't understand their outlook on the world. So I can't really. To me, I couldn't really criticize them. And they're not obvious bad people. They're not murderers. They're not thieves. Where I can say that's definitely immoral. It's a black and white issue. That is so wrong. You're harming people. Like that guy that burglarized our place. That guy's an immoral sleazebag that does burglaries for a living. That's his career. He has probably the smarts and talent to get work for a company or be a businessman, but instead he uses his skills for evil. So if you're a thief, if you're a killer, something like that, those are obvious bad things. This is much, if it's bad, it's much, much lower down on the scale of bad people.
Well,
It's at the bottom of the, like I said, for crimes, this should be like the least, this is like the least offensive one.
it may sound mean or rude, but truth hurts. You should. I know what
Well,
it's
look,
not
you shouldn't
really.
judge them, is how
I'm not
I
trying to judge them, but if they could do something else, why don't they do something else, right?
Well, maybe
See,
they can't. Maybe they don't want to.
Ronnie,
I don't know what
Ronnie
the situation
said,
is.
Ronnie said.
But Ronnie brought up a good
Helinda,
point.
hi Helinda. I don't know if you're watching from Ronnie and from us. He said
This is a good point.
Helinda works 12 hours, 6 days there and struggles there. And she never chooses to be a prostitute. So if it's possible for them,
He
why?
brought up a good point here where he said maybe about the policemen there, maybe they're getting paid. Well, yeah, they're there, they're assigned there. The policemen that are there, that's their assigned territory. But yeah, they'll take bribes and stuff. They will.
Be
This is
careful
another
with
point,
this.
and I didn't get in the thing. Oh, she said don't say that because personal reasons. Her brother's a cop. Look, I didn't say
No,
all
we
cops
can't
take
say.
bribes.
Yeah, I mean like not.
I had problems with police in that
But not
area when
everyone
I-
is.
Look, did I say all
and
police
and
are
you know
like
what?
this?
The police people assigned there, they're just there to keep peace and order. It's not like
Yeah,
they're,
but some
they're
of them
part,
are bad.
They're part of that.
Some of them, look, and one of the reasons I think police like that area, why? Because there's a lot of tourists there. And in their minds, tourists have money and they can get bribes, so they can harass them for it. And this is something that I didn't cover in the documentary. I didn't really even think about it till after. But I kind of want to do another video talking about this, why places like that are kind of dangerous. I mean, you can go there and have fun and be safe, but you got to be extra cautious because people go there because they're targeting people, they're targeting foreigners, and girls will go there. You got to be careful with the girls there because there are a lot of immoral people, whether they're a prostitute or not. They'll do things like a very big thing here is they'll say to the guy, "Look, give me money, or I'm going to tell people you raped me." That's a very common extortion scheme in the Philippines. Ask Vong Navarro about that. He was just at a very high. He was at a very sophisticated extortion
But it wasn't.
case.
It wasn't police who did that. They were civilians.
No, I'm just talking about people in that area in general. Why
Well,
it's
you know what,
dangerous.
guys? I understand.
There's
where,
opportunists that
I
don't
understand
have
where
morals.
Travis is coming from because he had his own experience in 2005.
I'd like to
and
talk about this in a separate
Yeah.
video later.
Unfortunately, we haven't met. We haven't met yet. I could have helped him. I could have protected
Yeah.
him in my own way, because we met in 2006. That's when everything started for us. So, go ahead.
Alter Ego says a very hard world we live in, especially in the Philippines, because look, I grew up in the United States. I was lucky to be born there. I didn't decide to be born in the United States. It was all luck. My parents had me there. That's why I benefited from being born there. That's it. It's not something I did. So I can't really say I'm proud to be an American. I didn't do anything to become an American. It was all luck of the draw for me.
It's not
But
luck. It's blessing.
I came to the Philippines and I saw not just the Philippines, some of these Asian countries, but especially the Philippines. I saw what a hard world it is. And here, they don't have the opportunity that the United States has. In the United States, it doesn't matter how you're born. You can be born with disadvantages, but you can overcome it. In the Philippines, if you're born with disadvantages, it's going to be a lot harder. You can still do it, but it's going to be a lot harder than it would be in the United States. So, yeah, that's something that I'd like to say about that. It's something that I've always told people. And a lot of people that love the Philippines only see it as a tour. I mean, a lot of tourists see it and they come and they realize that in a very short time. But there's a lot of people that they've maybe never been here and they only see like cool tourist videos or pictures and they think that, they have the wrong idea. They think it's going to be like America, but they don't understand. It's almost like in India where they have the caste system, because in the Philippines, it is so hard for you to move up in class if you're not born that way. If you're born in the slums here, chances are you're going to die in the slums. I mean, it's so hard to get out of here. It's crazy. And Alter Ego says
I strongly agree with that.
and Alter Ego says education is the key. Well, that's one of the main
I meant
problems.
that. Your comment, Alter Ego.
Me and her always talk about this. He says education's the key. Well, that's one of the big problems.
True.
Because in the Philippines, they do have free schools funded by taxes. However, because of the corruption and stuff, very little money goes to it. Poor people they can't go to school because they have to start working from the time they're children. So people here, if they go to school, they either get a very poor education where they can't even learn to speak English or anything. They can't learn basic skills. So they get either a very bad education, the average person, or especially if they're really poor, they can't go to school at all because they have to work from the time they're children. So you have, in the Philippines, you have so many uneducated people, and that's where a lot of the big problems come from. But I agree that education's the key. It's just, unfortunately, it's not like America. where we have good public schools. I went to public schools my whole life, and I went to awesome schools and just had an awesome experience. And unfortunately, they don't get that here.
Well, it's a sad reality here.
Unless they go to an expensive private school.
It's a sad reality here that not everyone can afford to go to not everyone can really study or finish college. But you know what? There are possible opportunities. Modesty aside, my family has been helping, like, girls from like poor families, or like what do you call this? I don't want to call them poor, like God, I can't remember the word. Anyways, can't like anyways, I can't remember the word. Who kind of my family has helped in our own way less fortunate girls from poor families, or less fortunate families as well, by because they became our helpers in the house, but they just don't work there. They also My family also sent them to school. We even had like 1, 2, or 3 girls who finished college. And see, they had that determination to finish college. And what did they do? They worked with us, and they were treated as family. They had good lives, and they finished their education. So if you can have that opportunity, why not grab it? And not just be a prostitute, sadly. But I mean, if I could just really do something for them, I would. But it's their choice. That's the bottom line.
But actually, my family helps someone here too. Most people don't know this. I haven't really spoke about it publicly. But I actually have a foster sister in the Philippines that my parents support. My parents have never been to the Philippines. Not yet. They really want to come, and they want to visit their foster child. Unfortunately, I don't really get to see her much because she's far away from Manila. She's in Legazpi, the Legazpi area, way up in the mountains. You have to like take a 30-minute hike up the mountain, and they have their hut up there. They have coconut trees, and she lives kind of far out, but she lives far from Manila. So unfortunately, I don't get to see her. But my parents have a foster child here. I haven't really spoke about that publicly. So.
See, Jennifer Ramirez, thank you. It's nice to hear that we have the same opinion.
But I would like to speak about something. We've spoke so much about this prostitution, sex, and sexual videos.
If you want to try to move on something else, yes. If you just joined us, you know why we've been talking about prostitution and all this stuff. Because, so you can catch up.
Because I have a video that has prostitutes in it. It's not about prostitution, even though the trailer makes it look that way.
Entertaining
the teaser made it look that
documentary
way.
About prostitution in the Philippines. And
it's not about prostitution.
Actually, it's a red light district. It's not like...
It profiles a neighborhood that happens to be a red light district. But it's just an area that a lot of foreigners stay and live, and they have other things besides that. They have some like American style restaurants. They have a lot of Korean stuff there. There's a very big Korean population that lives there. In fact, I think that might be the unofficial Koreatown of Manila.
Yeah, it's like just showing you the area, what goes on, what you'll see there. Since you haven't been there, or
but we do mostly focus on the bars and stuff.
It's
People
more
want
like
to see that.
It's kind of like sightseeing as well, like through the video, and
it's a good tour. It's a good tourist video. We just happen to be in a red light district, man. But like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with showing that. And I don't think it hurts the image of the Philippines. People know, and a lot of people come to the Philippines specifically for that. And people are curious about it, even that would never do it. They're curious, what does that look like? Especially if you're in the United States and you've never been to a country that has something like that. I think it's kind of interesting to see.
Yep. And just like what Jennifer said earlier, she hasn't seen Burger Street in Makati yet. So since you haven't been there,
become a patron.
You're curious.
Even at the lowest level, you'll still see the video.
You guys can watch that video we're talking about.
And
by checking this out. Patreon.com.
And by the way, as I explained, it's an ongoing. You do it every month. However, you're not stuck into doing it. but I would like to encourage you to at least stick with me for a month. And like I said, this is only the first exclusive that we have. I'm going to be creating a lot of stuff that I would never have done if I was only sticking to just my YouTube channel. But I really want to cater to my patrons there. That's what they're called if they support a Patreon campaign. So I hope if you can contribute, even if it's just give it a month, support me for at least a month. And you can cancel anytime. It's easy, but I would encourage you to at least try it for a month. And what are you going to lose if you try it? Let's say you give $5. What's $5 going to buy you realistically? That's like the cost of a value meal at McDonald's in the United States. Just think of it like taking me to McDonald's.
Or
if you want to give
Starbucks.
yeah, Starbucks might even be more expensive than McDonald's. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. But if you want to do $5, which is like the lowest that we encourage people to go, I think technically you can do $1, but they have higher processing fees. Like you lose more. I think $1, like you only get like 70 cents out because the credit card companies charge a higher fees for smaller amounts. But anyways, I encourage people to do at least $5. You try it a month, and $5. Think of it like taking me to McDonald's, buying me a value meal, buying me a hamburger and fries and Coke at McDonald's. If you want to give $10, it's like taking both of us to McDonald's. And hey, why not take her to McDonald's too? So.
And of course, that's not the only video that you will see. There will be more
Yes, I'm going to have some private
videos.
communication going on with just the patrons. I feel like since they're core supporters and since they're making pledges, it's almost financially, it's almost like they have a little bit of a stake in this channel now. And I want to be transparent about some things that I wouldn't normally discuss with the general public. I'll have some things where we talk about, what's going on. And I'd like to move on right now and talk about what I would like to do, what I'd like to move on to upcoming videos. As I pointed out, I didn't have cameras for a few weeks, really. And because we had loaners and we had to give them back. And there's a period that we were going to be without cameras. So I shot some stuff in advance so I could edit them, and I'm still working on a couple things. In the near future, I'm going to be releasing a video about CDR King, which if you've been to the Philippines or spent from here, that's a store that sells cheap electronics. Electronics are very expensive in this country, so much more expensive than in the United States. But there's a cheap store, CDR King. So I'm going to have a video where I visit a CDR King and give kind of a general review of the store and their items. I mean, I can't review many of their items because I haven't bought them, I haven't used them. But I'll just give a general impression of what this place is like and what I think, an unbiased review of that. That's going to be coming out. I just started editing it tonight. And this is going to be on YouTube for everyone to see unrestricted. But I think I'm going to release it first on Patreon so the patrons can see it first. So I'll try and release it on Patreon. The patrons will see it before anyone else as one of their perks, and then I'll release it to my YouTube channel about a week later, something like that, for everyone to see. So that's a little bit more of an advantage to being a patron. I'm going to try and start giving you some good stuff before anyone else can see it.
And also you can see the rewards or our ways of thanking you for the patrons on the website that we told you earlier.
So we got a CDR King video coming up. My new vlog series, I have a new one coming out in that. I'm going to have some other simpler, like just kind of talking, just saying some personal philosophies that I have that maybe it can help you out. Maybe you won't like it and we'll disagree. But I'm going to put it out there to see if it helps you. So we're going to have some smaller ones where the talking stuff. But got a vlog coming up and that CDR King video coming up. And we're going to be resuming shooting new stuff soon. Something I would like to do. A lot of people have requested I do a video in Baguio. And I think that we're a little bit closer to making that happen. I mean, definitely if more support can come in through Patreon, that would be huge. I'm also not just exploring Patreon. I'm looking for other sponsors actively. I mean, it's hard without a marketing team because I'm a creative person. I want to just focus on making the creative content. but I'm looking for sponsors trying to help make that happen. I'd love to do one in Baguio, and I'd like to do some other stuff. I want to move more into the higher end documentaries, maybe less opinion stuff. Hey, if you put your opinion out there on the internet, boy, you're going to get a lot of hate. And why? Just because someone has a different opinion than you and they disagree. So it's like, yo, I don't like this guy because he has a different opinion about something. People are very judgmental, man. But Ronnie says he's going to pledge. Well, we're looking forward to that. He also asks, do they have food trucks here? Not really. It's not like in LA.
What are food trucks like when they sell?
Exactly. She says, what's a food truck?
No, because there are food trucks.
Not really.
There are food trucks in Makati, but they're not high-end.
They're not like the ones in Los Angeles. They're not like the taco ones. That it's a whole. There's like this whole big market in Los Angeles of food trucks. It's like a big California thing.
Sometimes like Dunkin' Donuts or something, it would have that, but not really.
Jennifer asks about tourist traps. Well, actually, Burgos Street in Makati, it's kind of one of those. It is a tourist area. Something else that's a tourist area that's also, of course, with tourists, you're going to have lots of prostitutes there in a country like this. What's that place? Is it Glorietta or Greenbelt?
It's in Greenbelt. You're talking about one
the
bar.
Outside. Well, I'm talking about that whole area. Greenbelt at night, which is part of this big fancy
malls
in Makati. That place, I think, has more prostitutes in it, actually, than the red light district.
No, of course not.
Yes, walk through there at night. That place is almost nothing but foreigners and prostitutes.
You can't compare the number because in Burgos, the red light district, there are several bars.
But
strip bars.
But I mean, out in the open, there's more.
Every strip bar has like how many girls? Have you?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about prostitutes indoors. Like you walk down that little strip outside the mall, and it's just you see more prostitutes on that strip, that outdoor mall part, than you would walking down the street in Burgos. To see a greater number of prostitutes, you have to go from bar to bar, and there's maybe 10 to 15 working in a bar at any one time. But if you just walk down the street, you'll see less prostitutes on Burgos Street than that little strip in Greenbelt.
Well, yeah, that's a common sight there. I was telling
the Havana Cafe, if you know what that is.
I was telling,
or that Starbucks over there.
I was telling him I have this friend who wrote an article about that bar, and she kind of referred to that area like a meat market. And
it is.
She said it was because of what you would see there. For example, like back in the days.
That's our next documentary.
Back in the day, here's what we did. Like after a meeting or like a meeting or whatever in Makati, in that area, we'd go to Starbucks and like sit down like outside, and then right after like beside it is that bar, and then. At first, you'd see like all these girls, like sexy girls and stuff like that. Even shemales who really
section is more
or
by
lady
the
boys who really look like real women, and then they would be like seated in different tables, just them. And then eventually, a few minutes or a few hours later, you'd see like there would already be foreigners with them, and then you would see like someone who's still there alone, like. Oh God, I hope she's okay, like, or he's okay if that's a lady.
I don't know what you mean.
No, I mean, like, because the others I think they feel left out because the other girls who were there at the same time that person was there already got like clients, that's what they call them, and then others would be left out. Like, like if you just sit down there and look at them, you can like create story out of it.
This is an interesting comment from him. He says like he's comparing like my YouTube and my Patreon. He says it sounds like Hulu and Hulu Plus. I guess maybe that's somewhat of a comparison. That's kind of sort of maybe in a way. Yeah, maybe that's not a bad way to think of it. I don't know.
I'm not really familiar with Hulu.
But you gotta keep in mind it's different because not only are we giving you exclusive content, you're also contributing to being a patron of the arts. You're funding art, whereas Hulu, they make since those are TV shows, they make money when they're on TV. You're paying people that are already rich, whereas me, you can at least hopefully get the good feeling of supporting a small independent artist that's doing my best to create independent content. Like Hulu is just giant corporations, Disney, Warner Brothers, whatever. It's all their content. I mean, they have so much money. Man, I'm a little guy. I've been funding everything myself, and I'm an independent artist. So with me, you're supporting an independent artist. And Hulu, I don't watch Hulu because I don't really have an interest in TV shows for the most part. I just like watching YouTube and seeing what regular people are creating. And by the way, Hulu doesn't work in the Philippines, so they pretty much, I don't think any of their videos really work. They have like bans on them in the Philippines to where Hulu videos don't work if you're here. So no one in the Philippines would know what Hulu is anyways, because I said it doesn't even work here.
Wow.
Jennifer says she'll join our marketing team. She's in Iloilo.
Wow, that's so nice.
I haven't been there, but if we get enough patrons, I'd like to go feature it in a video.
You know what, Jennifer? Maybe you can help us find a sponsor in Iloilo, and exchange. We can like maybe promote something, an area there, like something like that. Do that,
yes.
Something like that.
Yep.
We can talk further. That would be cool.
Sure, I've never been there actually, but I did some ads and stuff in catalogs that were only available like in SM Iloilo.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've never actually been there. My pictures have been there, my photographs of me wearing SM clothes.
That was in 2010.
Or was it, or 2012? Or was it
2010. 2010. Anyways, I know it better.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I might have
track.
did another job though that was
That's
like
my job as the manager.
So, but we want to move on with
Hold on.
new
Jennifer,
content.
maybe we can talk further on Facebook. There.
Hit her up on Facebook. She takes care of that stuff for me. Ronnie said, I've seen a video of Street Makati and there's like 100 ladies.
You counted it?
Yeah, how'd you count? Maybe it was at different times.
You're so good at counting.
So we've been on this a while. I didn't get much sleep last night, so get your questions in before we
say
call it a
bye-bye.
night.
Well, go ahead.
You go.
While waiting for your other comments, since there is some delay, like a few minute delay, let's thank the patrons again. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead, flash them. I'll just talk about, you can just like flash them. I'll talk about some stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much too. Go ahead.
No, just do it. I'll talk about
Go ahead.
things. Okay.
Talk.
But what's our favorite food? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do when I'm done with this broadcast here in a little bit. I'm going to cook some hamburgers. I actually haven't eaten dinner. All I had for a snack was some frozen strawberries that I got at the grocery store. But then I'm going to eat supper after this. I'm going to cook some hamburgers, some big, beefy, meaty hamburgers. But hamburgers are one of my favorite foods, unless you're talking about Filipino food. For Filipino food, lately I like caldereta, which if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a beef stew. So lately I've been eating it. I try and eat a lot of caldereta. I like fried chicken. I like chicken prepared just about any way. Chicken's a very versatile meat. So chicken's pretty much always good. The one type of cuisine that I'm really not a big fan of would be Chinese food. But so many people here in the Philippines, because Chinese food and Filipino food, there's a connection. Chinese food here is not really considered foreign food. It's basically part of their cuisine. Maybe kind of the way tacos and burritos would be basically considered American cuisine. It's, a big part of our cuisine and common food. Here, Chinese food is not really considered foreign. But I'm not real big into most Chinese food. Some of it's okay, but for the most part, I'm not crazy about it.
And you know what? Ronnie said he's going to cook for us when he comes here. Yay! Thank you also to
Corey.
And last but not the least. And guys, you can still, of course, be part and be our patron. Just check this out.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have near enough yet, but I understand it's very early. I haven't released a lot about, I think, a lot of people didn't even watch the couple previous videos I released until the teaser. They'd never heard of it. But I knew that a lot of that teaser, I created it to get attention. It did, some good, some bad. I said a few people hated me for it, but I look at it like this: they weren't going to support me anyways. They weren't going to become a patron. They don't even comment on my other videos. Most of them, I haven't even seen their names. So I'm not like, why try and please them? They're just spouting off, and they can do what they want. So that was their first time hearing about the Patreon campaign. One guy that left a negative comment saying, "Oh, what are patrons? Are they?" Which I've explained what that was in a couple previous videos. They said, his comment was, "What are patrons? Is that someone that funds your career? If so, I'm unsubscribing." Well, as I explained, even the people that don't fund, they're going to benefit by getting better videos from the people that are patrons.
Still on the YouTube channel.
But I checked this guy's feed. I went to his channel, checked his feed. He had all these very extreme Christian videos that he was into. And one of his videos was, we talked about this in the live broadcast, we talked about Joel Osteen. And but one of the videos he liked I saw in his feed was, he had this video that he liked of a Christian minister. And there's this whole thing that's common for Christian ministers to upload videos talking about Joel Osteen. I think they want some of that attention of people searching for Joel Osteen videos. So they do videos talking about Joel Osteen, condemning him. So basically, it's a very common thing for Christian ministers and I would say jealous Christian ministers to do videos about Joel Osteen, saying bad things about him and trying to tear him apart. And he liked a video of a Christian minister that hates Joel Osteen, that put out a hateful video towards Joel Osteen. And it's like, man, if you're one of those nutty people that's going to be watching videos of Christian ministers hating Joel Osteen, you're probably a wacky dude that would turn on me anyways at the drop of a hat because you're a bit of a nutcase. So I don't need your support. I don't want your support. And he clearly doesn't watch most of my videos. He just happened to watch that because it had the word sex in the title. But yet he clicks that video. He clicks just so he can condemn it. So these people that say, "Ooh, I hate things about sex," well, that's the video you sure clicked on. You didn't click or comment on the other ones, did you? You had to watch the one about sex. But see, I know how you think. I'm in your head. I was a psychology minor in college. I was a film major, psychology minor. So, and all my life, aside from that, I've been trying to, on my own, study human psychology. It's one of my passions, one of my interests. And by the way, being a psychology minor, I had to have sex education. I had a specific college in class that was all about sex, which is one of the reasons that I'm okay talking about sex, not necessarily in a filthy or dirty way, but it's okay to at least talk about from a scientific standpoint. We should be educating people about it. I don't think it's, that's just how I feel. But I'm inside that guy's head. I knew people were going to click that video just because it says sex in the title. So I put it in there, because if I put something saying this is a video about how beautiful the Philippines is or how fun the Philippines is, those people love them, they wouldn't be interested in watching. But you put sex in there, they have to, just so they can say they hate sexual videos. But those are the ones they click on.
There's a question from Kyler Keaton. Is it Kyler or Keeler? Kyler Keaton. What are your jobs? Well, that's a good question. You know why?
Because he doesn't know who we are.
No. I have a point. I want to share a point. Well, he's an actor, director, producer, and he loves making videos for the channel to entertain, inform,
I had a movie
encourage you.
I had a movie that was in theaters last year. You can see there's a behind-the-scenes video of it here, like a making of. And it was in theaters twice last year. It was in theaters in September, and then backed by popular demand, it played again in December before Christmas. It didn't play in the United States. It only played in the Philippines. It's a Filipino movie. The name of the movie is Ang Turkey Man Ay Pabo Rin. So check that. By the way, I'm hoping to somehow get a copy and put it up for patrons, people that become patrons. That's one of my goals, to somehow get them to see the movie or get a copy of the movie somehow for patrons.
Hopefully, but we're still
I don't own
waiting.
the rights to that movie, though.
Yeah.
I didn't produce it. I was just the actor.
But you can actually see the behind this. behind the scene video of that of Travis shooting the movie and stuff. And
He's not gonna know how to spell that. Like if someone can type to him in the room, Turkey man, Ipabo Rin.
maybe Jennifer can type it for us.
Because if you don't speak Filipino, you're gonna be like, what? Even if you do speak Filipino, you'll be like, what? Because that's a very unusual title.
Yeah, and also since you said what are your jobs, I I am an event and radio host. Although I couldn't do my radio because the station is in the province, and I also am a talent manager. I manage him for his acting, modeling career.
I used to have a much bigger modeling career. You can go on my website, which will kind of give a brief overview of some of at least the highlights, which is just traviscraft.com. Also, like, if you go on my Facebook, facebook.com/traviscraftofficial, traviscraftofficial, or traviscraft.com, you'll see, some of my stuff, at least photos and stuff. I have videos here on this channel. But basically, I'm an actor, I'm a host, and I'm also behind the camera. Right now, I used to have more of a modeling career, but these days I'm more focused on hosting, acting, and also like behind the camera. I recently, I can't give it away, I directed a
A
project.
video promoting, or like it's part of
But
the
I don't
campaign.
think we can, yeah, I can't tell too much about it,
Yeah.
but people will see
When the
that
right
coming
time
out.
comes.
People will see that coming out. It should be out this month, they said. But I directed a project recently that will be coming out.
Directed,
It's
hosted.
a video. It's a video, and it's about. I can't get too.
You just don't say much about it. But
I won't tell anything. But I have a video
watch
coming
out
out
for
that
it.
people
when
will
when
see
we when we can
when they're
when we
supposed
can
to release
upload
it.
it. Yeah. And also, I was trying to get to my point. I also teach. What's your name? Kyler. And then so we have these jobs, okay, but we really love to keep making videos for you guys because of the enormous feedback that we
Yeah.
get from you. The thing is, when we shoot these videos, when we work on these, the time that we should devote to like my job, to his job, should be spent to make these videos. So with your support on Patreon will really help a lot and will really make a difference, I would say. And it's not just for us, but it's for the viewers of the channel who continuously who enjoy the videos, and there are even viewers and first time viewers even who would email him every day. He gets emails asking for travel tips, advice.
But this
And
channel
stuff.
isn't just about the Philippines.
Yeah.
It's art, entertainment with a heavy focus on entertainment, and also information. Some videos are just more about information. Even like this. This is not like an artistic thing. It's just that kind of nourish looking video quality. But hopefully we say things in these live broadcasts that entertain people or inform people. So different videos on this channel serve different purposes. Some are just about entertaining. Some are more just about informing. Some are a combination of both.
Yeah. And since Ronnie has been bringing up since the previous live stream that I should have my own talk show or something, I really love doing my radio show, and I really love to talk and inspire the listeners in my own simple way.
She was a radio show host,
So-
but when we came here, she
I
put the
couldn't do it
radio show on
live.
hold. She put the radio show on hold. She hosted a radio show in the Visayas,
Yeah.
which if you don't know the Philippines, those are just other islands in a different part of the country, basically.
Yes, but so if this, I just want to say that by God's grace, this Patreon campaign works really well. Then maybe I could do extra. I could also do something for YouTube. And Ronnie, you'll see that you get to watch me on a YouTube talk show or something. But I don't know when, whatever. Bahala na. There's a Filipino face.
Yes, and I tell you, like, my passion is making YouTube videos. That's why, even when I had my movie in theaters, it was a dream come true to be starring in a movie on the big screen. But since I didn't write or direct it or anything, I felt like it's less of me than when I make videos for this channel, especially the higher end videos. I feel more proud of actually than when I had a movie playing in theaters. Also, like, I just wish I could do this and nothing else. But the problem is there's no money making YouTube videos. Even when we had our first meeting with Google, when they called us in to try and help us come up with strategies to grow our channel and everything. And she was basically, she said, okay, you already knew a lot of what I was going to tell you. But what do you need to make your channel better, do you think? I said, look, the bottom line is I need money. I fund these things myself. I'll go broke if I keep funding these things myself, trying to fund high-quality videos that I can't make money back on. And, that's basically what I told her. And I don't want to get into some of the details of that. But someone mentioned, the comment's kind of buried now, but they mentioned, tell Google to get internet in the Philippines. Yeah, I would like to, but I don't think our contacts can just, our contacts at Google can just call the main office and say, hey, they need Google internet in Manila. Their internet service sucks there.
Oh,
I wish they could, but I don't think our contacts are more on the YouTube side.
Here's the thing. Remember I told you? You told me that there was this one YouTube event in Singapore that was like shown
That
via
was
live
live
stream.
streamed, yeah.
And I was like wondering, they didn't do it live stream
From
for
Manila.
the event
One they had here
held in Manila. So I was like thinking maybe it's also because of the internet speed here. Ronnie, that's right.
When we were in their office, she was looking at my channel and they were playing slow. And I'm like, you Google, you don't even have fast internet in your office at Google? Like, that's what I was saying to her.
I was just going to say, Ronnie, let me know when you're already getting married. And yes, I can be your host for that.
She also hosts weddings for people. You have a party coming up that you're hosting.
Yeah, I'll be hosting a kiddie party soon. I host, parties, birthday parties for kids, old people, not so old people, weddings, company parties and stuff like that.
Gay weddings. She mainly hosts gay weddings. I'm just kidding. They don't have gay marriage in the
Thank you, Jennifer, for typing the movie. Ang turkey man ay paborito.
They don't have gay marriage in the Philippines yet. But it's already becoming legal in the U.S. Although, the Philippines, their government and laws are largely based on the United States, but they're very set in their ways. So anything that changes in the United States, especially if it's more of a liberal thing, they're either not gonna implement it in the Philippines, or it's gonna take a very long time. Gay marriage, because this is the gayest country on the planet, most likely. So of course they would want that here. Many people, if not most people, would want that here right away. But they don't change the laws very easily in this country. And the other thing that's really quickly changing in the United States is the marijuana laws. That's quickly becoming legal. And even today they had a video of some guy in the crowd with marijuana when Obama was in Colorado, and he offered Obama, he said, hey, you want a hit? And Obama laughed and said no. But you see how that's quickly becoming legalized, and there's so many medical marijuana or just marijuana enthusiasts, or what's it called, advocates that want that in the Philippines. But the government here, there's even politicians that are saying, yeah, I would be in favor of legalizing marijuana, but it's not going to happen. It's either never going to happen here, or it's going to happen 50 years from now. It's just, that's the way it works here. There's so much red tape, and they don't change laws easily in this country. Even if they're based on the United States and they still look at the United States for an example, just because the United States is doing something doesn't mean the Philippines is also going to do it, especially if it's one of those more liberal laws. I mean, think about it. They don't even have divorce in this country. You cannot legally get divorced. So that's one thing they can brag about the Philippines. Our divorce rate is 0. But you know what? There's people here. It's so common here that guys have second families, or people live separately. Even if it's 20 years, they'll have been separated, but they're still married because they can't get a divorce. And it's like, come on, man, that's not a marriage. They should allow that to end in some sort of legal and reasonable manner. The fact that they had people that have been separated for 2 decades, but in the eyes of the law, it's a legal marriage still, and they can't just move on. It's completely ridiculous to me. But there's a lot of corruption. I don't want to complain about corruption because I do think that people make too much of the corruption in the Philippines in terms of they blame everything on it, and it comes to a point you kind of got to take responsibility for your own life. You can't rely on the government. So I don't want to complain too much about that. Plus, they'll probably deport me from the country if I complain. So I'm not complaining about the government. We love you, government of the Philippines.
Oh, it's this I was going to say. Just an additional information. We mentioned this in one of our previous live streams in terms of marijuana legalization. We personally know.
She's a toker, man. She's stoned right now.
I'm just sharing something. Hold on.
She's not. I'm kidding.
We personally know a doctor, neurologist. He's one of the best doctors in the Philippines. We went to his clinic like a few months ago, I think, and then I don't know how it was brought up, but he said he's actually one of the doctors, or he's a doctor that's like
advocating for it.
No.
Or in favor.
No. That was like asked by the government to like study it, like to try to see.
But he said he's in favor of it.
Like to see if it will really work or if it's doable here, something like that. But so we'll see. Who knows?
Ronnie's going to Planet of the Apes. I don't know if that's out here yet. I've seen the ads. I haven't paid attention. Most movies actually come out in the Philippines these days before they come out in the United States. And it's usually the really big movies. This is going to be a big movie. However, it's more like the superhero movies because Filipinos are so into it. Those usually come out a week or two. Captain America was in the Philippines 2 weeks before it opened in the United States. Most of those big, Planet of the Apes, I think Filipinos, I hate to say it's too sophisticated for Filipinos, and that's not really what I mean, but I don't think I'm not sure that Planet of the Apes is as much of a thing here as it is in the U.S., where it has that history. One of my favorite movies of all time is the original Planet of the Apes from 1968. I don't even like sci-fi movies usually, but that is just, not only is it a great science fiction film, but it's a great movie all around. And they really did, especially for its day, it was edgy. They tackled issues of racism. It tackled issues about religion and things like that. I mean, were kind of taboo to talk about, although that was kind of the beginning of the more liberal era of hippies and stuff, because it's right in 1968. If you see that one scene of Charlton Heston when they land on the new planet and as astronauts, and like he starts laughing about something, where like and it goes in really close to his face of Charlton Heston doing that crazy laugh, like ha 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 ha. I'm pretty sure they were on acid or something when they shot that scene, or they were thinking that the audience is going to be on psychedelic drugs during that, because they're like, I'm sure if you were in the theater in 1968 and you just dropped some acid before seeing a movie about talking apes, man, you're like in 1968, if you're one of those hippie dudes, you're like, hey man, let's do some acid and see this movie about talking apes, man. And then you go see that and you're on acid and you see that scene of the camera going in close on Charlton Heston's face where he's laughing like a madman. That must have been trippy. That would be an experience. I don't advocate drug use, but that's an awesome scene the way it is. But if you watch it decades later, like me, I wasn't even born when that came out, of course. But like you watch that from a modern perspective and in a time when there's not many people on drugs, at least not psychedelic drugs, and you see that and it's kind of like out of place because you're like, whoa, what were they thinking? But it was the late 60s. They were probably thinking that people were going to be watching that while on drugs, or they were on drugs while they made that. But if you watch it decades later sober, you're like, whoa, what is with that? So, what would you like to say? She hasn't seen the film, and that's her loss.
I saw like bits and pieces. Remember, like
she doesn't know the scene of Charlton Heston. It's early in the movie, right after they land, because at the beginning of the movie is they're in the space shuttle, and he does like a little monologue about their mission, and then it shows the credits, and then they crash into the new planet.
Enjoy the movie, Ronnie. Ronnie said, I watched your wedding vid, Ima. You mean one of the weddings
The
that you
vlogs,
hosted?
I
Yeah, the
think.
vlog. Actually, that was a fun wedding to host. I host different kinds of weddings from simple to fancy, so I'm flexible. So I think we
Alter
have a
Ego
question.
has a question that I should address. He says, do you plan to involve more people like you in your project of making videos? Well, I guess my question would be like me. Do I involve more people like you? Like, you mean more people like me? In
Oh, I
what way?
think
I'm not.
no, no. I think he meant alter ego. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like if we will have more people in our team to work with making these
If that's the
videos.
question, would we have more people? You know, the one thing that I wish I had the most is a camera operator, because I'm a great camera operator. I try and train her, and I get very frustrated. I have very high standards when it comes to that job. I wish I had that, but look, we don't have money to hire a guy, and you can actually get skilled people here because it's such a poor country and people are desperate. Although I wouldn't want to just pay someone garbage. You can get people, camera operators, that'll work when they're not shooting a TV show. They'll work fairly cheap actually, but also like I wouldn't necessarily. I think skilled people like that should be paid more. I wouldn't want to. I would feel bad about hiring a camera operator and paying him the bare minimum of what he would work for, because I respect them so much. They're trained. They're probably artists. They have to have technical know-how and artistic know-how to do what they're doing well. And people like that just deserve a fair wage for that. Like these people that want to outsource jobs to the Philippines and they feel good because, oh, I'm giving someone $10 a day to work. Well, you're hiring a skilled person that had to pay money to go to school for that job, and you're only paying them $10 a day, which is still underpaying them. You feel good about yourself, like you're providing this great life for them. Look, $10 in the Philippines is still $10. It doesn't magically turn into $200. They think, in their mind, they think it's cheap to live here, and they think they're doing this good thing. But really, you're still taking advantage of people. So it's good that you're providing someone a job that helps them survive. But for these low-paying outsourcing jobs from American, you're still really only providing them a way of survival. You're not providing them a good life. You're providing them just survival, a means of survival. And hey, we got to survive, so it's better than nothing, of course. And obviously, they wouldn't take the job if it wasn't helping them, if they didn't need it. But don't try and think that you're some saint or something. Don't think that you're Mother Teresa because you paid someone a really poor wage. You found someone to work really cheap, a skill, especially if it's someone that had to go to school to do that job. Like design. Like an example would be a designer. Designers are artists. A lot of them had to go to school to do that, and they have to have a decent computer to do that they pay for. Sure, don't pay him as much as an American because otherwise, why outsource? But don't pay him the bare minimum either. Is my philosophy.
But you know what? With if we'll see if when we're capable, when when we become capable of having someone else, more people in
Yeah,
the
we
team,
need more people.
we would love that. And Patreon support, the support from patrons will really help a lot.
We really. I don't like having just me and her. And I'll be honest, I do so many things, and really, I wish I only had to just come up with creating content instead of like all these other things I have to do. It really hurts the creative side of it and the side of actually making content, which is what I should be doing. I wish we had people. It's definitely not enough. And trying to run a respectable channel, a high quality channel, like look at Vice, for instance. Vice has a great channel. They do great documentaries. They have a lot of very good content. But that's not two people doing everything. That's an international team of people, and they have a lot of money working for that to provide that content. And of course, there's money too because they have TV deals and stuff like that. They have a show on HBO, but I think it's moving to another channel or something. But they do great content, but it's not two people doing it. It's not just funded out of one guy's personal money that he saved up to do or something. So
I think you missed something. Let's try to go down this one
you
from Kyler Keaton.
read it.
You may have answered this, but with all the problems in the Philippines, excuse my spelling, why did you move there?
That's putting me on the spot, and I'll tell you why it's putting me on the spot.
Because I'm here.
I have, you know, because I could have went back by now, and I was gonna go back, but then I stayed to do that movie. Then I stayed
Yeah, he
to
was
do it in
asked
theaters.
to stay longer for the movie.
I stayed to shoot the movie. I was gonna go back after 1 year. I shot them, but then they talked to me into staying to do that movie, and then I wanted to stay to see it in theaters and stuff and have that whole experience and help promote it. But it's a good question, and it's one that I actually don't get asked that much, believe it or not. I get asked everything but that, and now that I am
Great
asked it,
question,
I've kind of thought
Tyler.
about this my own. Sometimes I have to ask myself, why did I? And sometimes I just answer it to myself and I say, I don't know. But I guess if I get into it deeper, it would be because I came to the Philippines in 2003. I fell in love with it. And I would come back about, usually it was once every 2 years. I'd make a trip here and stay a while. And I would have the time of my life. I absolutely loved it here. But I will say, if I'm being completely honest, this is the longest I've stayed here at any one time. It's been around 2 years now. And I'll say this, if you stay here long term, it's radically different than coming for a vacation, even if you're coming for a very long vacation that's several months, because there's a lot of things you just don't fully see or realize, or things that you don't notice until you've been here at least a year. Because up to like a year or even a year and a half or longer, it's almost like you're still on vacation mode to some extent mentally. And there's things that, like for instance, in terms of problems, there's things that wouldn't bother you or you would just deal with or put up with if you were here on a shorter time or a little bit less permanent time. But when you're here nonstop and you don't go outside the country and get a break, things that were not an issue for you before start to become an issue. And you start to be like, oh man. And then you say to yourself, why am I here? And then you could say you can always leave. And that's true. And, it's something I think about from time to time. It's always hard to say what I'm doing. But if I have a reason to stay in the Philippines, if I have an opportunity to do good things and I'm wanted here and I get opportunities to do something, especially where I can make money to keep me staying in the country, yeah, I'll be here. But, I'm happy in the United States. I'm happy in Los Angeles. It's a lot easier to make money in the United States than it is here, even for me. I mean, it just feels like there's always more opportunity there. And there people here with Filipino mentality, they will always try to get something for free or try and they always want to talk you into working for slave wages, even if you're a foreigner that's skilled or something. They will always come. We don't really have a budget for this, and they'll come up with every excuse in the book to like not pay you. Or here we got a little check today, but it took like 2 months after when we were supposed to be paid. And there's just so much red tape here, and like there's so much like they just don't want to pay you. They'll either try and screw you, take advantage, not give you a check that they not pay you something that they promised you, or they'll just want you to do something for such a ridiculous amount of money that it's not practical, because you got to eat, you got to pay your rent, you got to do that stuff, and So, but if there's reasons to stay, I'll stay. But if not, I'm happy in the United States. You haven't been to the United States yet, and I'm sure you'll like it, of course. So we're very open to that. They had that article in the newspaper that they printed about 3 months ago now saying that we're going to the United States. And the article, like people are like, oh, they're going to the United States. They didn't mean like a week later. They meant we're going sometime. That it's not permanent that we're going to be here. And I in that one video, in one of the vlogs, I talked about it, and I said, yeah, there's this article that talks about us in the newspaper that says that we're going back to the United States, but that doesn't mean we're going back immediately. It just means that we are going to go to the United States at some point, whether that was a month, I said, whether it's a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, whatever. It means we're going to the United States. We just don't have tickets or anything. You know, it's not like that immediate. There's no immediate plan, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be 70 years old and still in the Philippines, never left the country.
You know what?
So,
all in God's perfect time. Ronnie Rodriguez, Ima, do you consider yourself Asian or Islander, like Pacific Islander? I remember asking you that question because I know someone who's Filipina, who was born and raised in America, but her parents are both Filipinos, but she calls herself Pacific Islander. So
she was Phil-Am, to be clear.
Yeah.
You knew someone that was Filipino-American. Her parents were Filipino.
Yeah.
She's an American.
Yeah.
But she came to the Philippines.
Yeah.
You handled her. You were her manager.
And then that's how she called herself. So I was wondering why, but I would say I'm Asian.
Why? Well, let me ask you this. Are Japanese people Asians or are they Pacific Islanders? Are people from Taiwan Asian or are they Pacific Islander? Does anyone from Japan?
Philippines belongs to Asia.
Yeah, but so does Japan.
So why would
But it's also islands in the Pacific. Taiwan. Like that's what my point is. Does anyone that's Japanese say, "Oh, I'm Pacific Islander," or do they say I'm Asian? Because it would apply to them just as much. Those are also islands in the Pacific. So only with some Filipinos do they say I'm Pacific Islander, and I find it weird too. And a lot of Filipinos find it weird that some Filipinos or Filipino Americans call themselves Pacific Islander instead of Asian. I'm also like, I find it weird because it's like, what when you're talking about, I mean, technically, I suppose they would be Pacific Islanders, Filipinos, but also technically, Japanese people are Pacific Islanders then. But I don't hear Japanese people saying that they're Pacific Islanders. They refer to themselves as Asian. Most Filipinos would say Asian. I think the ones that call themselves Pacific Islanders, those are people that want to feel kind of unique and different, especially in the United States. But one Filipino person told me in the United States, they said they were talking about that, and they said some Filipinos call themselves Pacific Islanders instead of Asians. And she said, I think that's weird because Pacific Islanders are no one at the bottom of the classes. And she said, Asians are at the top. Wouldn't you want to be at the top, the highest class instead of the lowest? So why would you, and this is what she said, not what I said. So why would you want to call yourself a Pacific Islander? You want to be Asian because then you're thought of as high class. So I thought that was a good point, actually. I mean, it sounds kind of racist maybe, but those were her words, not mine. So,
just making clear.
But I was reading comments, but I did kind of thought, well, yeah, that's a very good point. Other than the fact that it just sounds weird to call themselves Pacific Islanders, because Pacific Islanders, those are more like Micronesians or the Polynesians and stuff, like maybe a person like a native Hawaiian or someone from the Marshall Islands or a Samoan or something. That's like Pacific Islander. But like I said, Filipinos calling themselves Pacific Islanders is kind of weird. Like, do Indonesians call themselves that? Do Japanese people call themselves that? Do people from Taiwan say I'm a Pacific Islander, not an Asian? I've never heard people from these other countries claim that when it would apply to them just as much.
Yep. And we're getting more comments.
He says, keep you there because America can change people. Well, yeah, it can change people for the better often, to be honest with you. Because there's a lot of Filipinos that go to the United States and they have all these opportunities to work, make money, have a different type of life that they could have here, not just for money, but culturally, their eyes get opened to other things. So, and hey, I'm an optimist. I always think that if things are going to change, things are going to change for the better.
For the better.
That's my philosophy. Am I worried about America changing, Imabel, for the worst? Not at all. It never even occurred to my mind actually that can happen. I know there's people that have commented on my YouTube videos and stuff. Even I had a viewer comment the other day. He said his experience. He said, boy, I went to the Philippines. I went to the Philippines because I met a woman there and I married her. I brought her back to the United States in 2 months after she became like fully legal, after she got all her papers. He said she wasn't with them anymore.
But there are real stories like that. So
yeah, I know there's stories like that, and they occur, and I think too, you just got to be confident in yourself and know what you have to offer as a person. And hey, man, if someone didn't want to be with me or whatever, they're free to go their own separate way. I don't hold anyone hostage to be with me. So I'm confident in what I have to offer.
And like
Patrick Meyer, okay, you go.
Like I always tell him, when we go to America, I really want to work. I would work.
Patrick Myers, someone just joined us in the room. He says, I concur the difference between long-term and vacation. Like I said, there is a delay from the time I don't know, maybe it's 2-3 minutes. He says he's an actor too in the Philippines. He's an actor in the Philippines. I'd like to pick your brain. What are some resources that you've successfully used to generate opportunities? And the main thing that I would say about that, generating opportunities, is exactly that. I generated my own opportunities. Because I'll be honest, after college, I came to the Philippines and to some other Asian countries briefly as a vacation after college. Someone hooked me up with a deal to go on a little tour. But then I moved to California and started getting into the entertainment industry and stuff, and I got into modeling there. But I wanted to go to the Philippines for a while, and at the end of 2005, I wanted to go to the Philippines for a while and try and do some, like at least modeling, like be in magazines and stuff. And that did happen and stuff. Then I did stuff I never even thought would happen. Like I had huge billboards along EDSA before, and I never even imagined that I'd be on a billboard for an advertisement. But when I came at the end of 2005, how did I go about meeting contacts and getting in the entertainment industry and getting a modeling career going here? I mean, I'll get into this kind of a
long history.
Yeah, it's kind of a long answer that I'm trying to make short. But basically, I didn't know anyone when I came here. And looking back on it, it was not a good idea. Looking back on it, it was kind of stupid to go to a foreign country and like want to get into at least the modeling industry. And eventually I want to go into TV and stuff if there's opportunity to do TV and movies. But one thing that helped was I already started getting a little bit of a successful modeling career going in the United States. I was real young at the time, and like my modeling career was just starting to where I was getting work. Not like huge high-end campaigns, but I was doing legitimate work. Like I was doing catalogs and things like that. I was in advertisements and stuff and doing a lot of catalog stuff. So real good work, but not like a Versace campaign or something like that.
Build your portfolio.
Well, I mean, I was doing legitimate work as a model, and I was getting real success in the United States in Los Angeles as a model. And I came here and I thought, like, I think I have a chance to do some real high-end stuff, like at least magazines. And the plan was I was going to get some good tear sheets, be in a lot of magazines and stuff. Because the magazines in the Philippines, they look very classy. They're not cheap looking at all. And I knew I could go get some awesome tear sheets. I just believed I could get in with no contacts. Looking back on it, it was a stupid plan that I should have never tried. But it did work out for me. It took a while, though. It wasn't fast. It took the first thing I did was actually a billboard, and they screwed me over on the money. They didn't tell me it was a billboard.
I wasn't
she wasn't my
around
manager
yet. We haven't met
But
yet.
it took me, I was here about a month before I did my first job, like before I could meet anyone and get a legitimate job. It ended up being a billboard, but they said this is just going to be a small thing, in-store poster. Doesn't pay very much, but I did it. And then I'm going down EDSA. I'm on this gigantic billboard, and it's like, hey, they lied to me, basically. They'll try and take advantage of foreigners here, like especially foreign models and stuff, because they think you're going to leave the country and they can break their contract and use it for something else. So that's a bad part of doing that.
So, a piece of advice for Patrick is make sure that you have a good, trustworthy agent or manager.
Yeah, but they're hard. They're so hard to find here. They're so opportunistic to like the managers and agents here to screw over, especially the foreign talent. They will just do so many things behind their back and steal your money any chance. Instead of them getting the minority, they will take the majority of the money and tell you that they're getting a small percentage when actually they're taking like 90% of your money. So they're so dishonest here and doing business in the Philippines. The business climate here, it sucks, man. Especially if you're a foreigner, especially like in terms of business ethics. I mean, they are so lacking, and especially like foreign models here, I feel sorry for. They will totally take advantage. Even big companies that have millions of dollars, not pesos, millions of dollars, they will still screw over a foreign model and try and pay them, hardly anything. Well, while they make tons of money off of it. So they have that attitude here, especially in business. Everyone's out for themselves. They're all looking to get what they can get.
I remember, like, I had to help him, get the rest of his payment or what he really deserved.
Yeah.
Because what they told him, like, it was just gonna be this small project, but then we saw like billboards around and
When I
stuff
met
like
her
that.
later.
So I had to help him like get the rest of the money, but it was not easy. Like they would tell you to talk to this person and to another person, and they'll have, they'll let you wait and stuff. So just make sure everything is clear and transparent.
But getting back to my point, how did I get in? I created my own opportunities. I hustled. That's what they call it. They call you hustling. They say you got to hustle, especially if you in LA. That's like a common phrase that they're telling all the actors there. You got to be hustling. That's what managers will say that to the actors. Agents will say that to the actors. Even other actors will tell you, hey, man, you always got to be hustling. You always got to be looking for your opportunity. And then it's going to come eventually, and you got to be prepared when it comes. But you got to always be aggressive and be looking for it. And that can mean a lot of different things. Contacting people over the internet, which is a low percentage thing, but you got to do it. Most of the time, people won't be able to help you. People write me all the time looking for jobs. Hey, can I work on a production of one of your views? I don't have anything for them, but I understand their point of view because I've did it. They're doing what they can. Even things like going to parties or bars, and that's
Can
something.
that work? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean going to bars on Burgos Street. I mean like in the Philippines, you want to go to some place like a fancy club in the fort or something like that. You want to go someplace higher end where the right people go. But in LA, I was always doing that. Everyone in Los Angeles does that. That's such a big thing. In Los Angeles, everyone's like a vampire. The actors are all trying to meet like directors and agents and producers and like leech off of them, and it creates some opportunities for some very bad stuff because some people, they can pretend to be an agent. There's a lot of people that do this in Los Angeles. They'll say, hey, I'm producing this movie. I'm going to direct this movie. They're talking to these girls. Nothing's going to happen. They're fake. They're just trying to hook up with those girls. There's guys that will even, because anyone can print a business card, especially now over the internet. There's guys that will put like their name on a business card and they'll put the Warner Brothers logo on it. And they'll say like producer or director on it. And then they'll hand it to girl. First, they'll go to the fancy bar like Sky Bar in Los Angeles, and to get in, the doormen are all actors, and they'll be like, they're not on the list in an exclusive bar or something, and but they'll approach the doorman. Hey man, you look good. Are you an actor? Oh yeah, I'm a casting director, or I'm a producer. And they take out the business card, and it has that Warner Brothers logo or whatever big studio. And then then they get in the bar that way because you can't say no to this could be your opportunity to Hollywood stardom, to success, to everything you've been working for. So they'll get into the bar that way. Then they'll meet all the hot young actresses or aspiring actresses that are all desperate to be in something. And they'll show them that business card. It's not even an ID or proof. They just print out the logo, and they'll, take advantage of people that way. And I'm so used to like guys like that. And I told the director of my movie here this, and you knew it. I've told a lot of people this. When I first got the offer to do this movie, I didn't take it seriously. This guy wrote me out of the blue, and he said, "Hey, I'm directing and producing this movie, and I want you to star in. I need someone just like you. I want you to star in this." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's all nice. Yeah, send the script over. I'll have my manager read it and stuff." I didn't even believe he was going to send a script. He actually did send a script, and
I had to read it.
So that showed at least he was serious. She read it. I didn't bother to read it because I thought, why waste my time? A script is a very long thing, and it takes a lot of time to get through. She read it, and she said, this is actually a very good script. This would be a very good role for you. And I said, well, yeah, whatever, but longer than that. It says, we've stopped streaming again. They're not getting my thing.
Well, I'm not
this
sure.
This might be a glitch.
If you're getting something, or if you still see us, it says good status. So let's just keep going.
I think our internet slows down at points. That's why it does.
Just like what Gabriel Aquino said. I love Philippines, but I hate internet speed. LOL, so that's my only complaint.
That's a bad element.
Understandable.
They're so far behind here. But their internet here is not cheap either. So those companies, like people were commenting on that Yahoo article about, the Philippines, these companies, their philosophy is they're going to make a big profit because they're going to give you very bad service and bad quality, but they're going to charge you a lot for it. So they're going to make very little investment on their end, but they're going to make a big profit by charging high fees. Mm-hmm. So,
and you have to be locked in.
It's another thing how I was saying the business climate here is not good, even to businesses, to their customers. Forget the people that work for them that they treat like garbage and take advantage of. But their customers, they have no respect for their customers here, businesses here. It's the opposite of America. That's one of the things I really miss about the United States, the amazing customer service that we have there. Everyone takes it for granted that lives in America, but boy, you leave the United States and you go to a business, they don't care if you like their service. If you complain to them and you say, I'm not happy, they say, then go someplace else. We don't care. In America, Burger King had that slogan, have it your way. In the Philippines, no business would ever say it. They'd say, you're going to have it our way. And if you don't like it, we don't care. That's their attitude. And our employees, we're going to treat them like dirt and pay them next to nothing, so they're not going to be happy, and they're not going to treat you well either. But we're not going to care about that either.
I have something to share when you started talking about that. But before I say this, hi to Megan. Welcome. Also to, did I see another name? That's it. Speaking of customer service, I had this recent experience with McDonald's. Which is
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
I normally like their product.
Yeah, we like
stuff,
it.
Though.
We like it. But they're not a sponsor.
But
no.
but anyways, the people that work for them don't care about you. They just
recently I had my nth experience of terrible customer service from one of the branches. I had to go home like 3-ish or 4-ish in the morning after taking my nephew to the hospital. On the way home, I decided to pass through the drive-through. Anyways, and then we were asked to just go directly to the first window, so we didn't have to order like by the first area. No one was in the queue, so it was just us. I was like, wow, okay, so we don't have to wait. And then the crew got my order. And so everything is clear. I have to reiterate the details of my order because usually they mess it up, either when we order there or if it's to go or like for delivery. And then after like a few minutes, the crew came back with some of my food and then said, ma'am, the rest of your order will be available in 10 minutes. I was like, what? You should have told me from the very beginning when I was still ordering that it would take 10 minutes, so I could have ordered something else. And then because I was already there, I thought, okay, I'll change it. I changed the order, but it still took a long time for them to do it, to finish it. And then I talked to the manager. They were just like kind of like smiling, but I didn't feel, they said sorry, but I didn't really feel their concern, or like they didn't do anything to make up to that, like inefficiency and not being caring to the customers. So I wrote a letter, I emailed McDonald's. They apologized, and then they said they already talked to the concerned people. And I said, hopefully this will help improve your service, because it's not the first time that we experienced, right? So hopefully they can improve that, even if it's McDonald's is an American company.
Yeah, some of their service is bad in McDonald's in the United States too, but if you complain, they will make it right. Here they will just say, well, that's the way it's going to be.
They'll just say sorry.
They'll say sorry and not mean it. They'll give you a very, like they enjoy, they'll give you an almost sarcastic, they don't really have sarcasm in the Philippines, except when you're at a business and they're apologizing for their terrible service. Then that's the only time you hear sarcasm here. And they smile at you as if to say "F you," like while they're saying sorry. And like it's just such a weird
like
culture here.
They won't see anything, but like that's like the message you get is, well, that's it. So
in McDonald's, he says they mess up orders in McDonald's.
Good thing we were the only customer that there were no other people behind us. If that's the kind of service they will provide, then what will happen? Like everyone will really have to wait. And they were just so lax.
Brian says it's so cheap to change telcos there. It's not, Brian, because they lock you into a 2-year contract and you can't cancel early. You can't even pay a penalty fee for canceling early. The fee is you still have to pay whatever's remaining on the contract. So if you cancel after 6 months, there's no like, oh, you pay $100 penalty fee or whatever to get out of the contract. You have to pay the other year and a half that you're not using it. Like you're charged the full bill. So it's not easy because they have these crazy exclusive contracts, which seems like it shouldn't even be legal to do that. Although a lot of telecommunications companies in the United States have that stuff. The only companies I know of that can do business that way are 2 things: telephone companies and gyms. The fitness gyms, God, that industry is more about scamming people than getting people healthy. It's more about locking people into a gym membership.
That's their strategy.
They do that here. The gyms do that here too, man. They took that's one bad way the Philippines took after America. In some of these other countries, they don't do business that way, where they lock people in to contracts that are impossible to get out of. Here, if you want to join, say, whatever gym, Gold's Gym or some big decent gym, it's like signing a contract with Satan himself. Like it's a life contract basically. That the stipulations are basically it's impossible to get out of. Although in the United States, at least, you can take them to court, and judges know that that gyms are basically running scams with those things. So I heard it's easy to get out of those. But in the United States, if you take them to court, that you'll always win. However, like in America, they do the gyms, and I'm into health and fitness, but I'm so disappointed that it's hard to tell people to join a gym when they just take advantage of people, and it's like abuse. Like it's like you're becoming an indentured servant to this gym, and like especially even jiu-jitsu gyms in the United States, even people. Here's the thing: if you know people that do jiu-jitsu or talk to jiu-jitsu guys on the internet, even those guys will basically tell you, yeah, jiu-jitsu's almost set up like it's a scam that they're running, because it's an expensive monthly thing, and they lock you into they try and design an ironclad. If you want to take jiu-jitsu lessons, they want to lock you into an ironclad contract to where like you have to be with them for at least a year. And here's the thing, especially with something like jiu-jitsu, it's a contact activity, and it's a combat sport. Some people are interested. It's not for everyone, but people are interested. And a lot of people don't know whether they really want to do it or stick with it without trying it for like 3-4 weeks or a couple months or whatever. Then they might decide, you know what, this really isn't for me. I'd like to quit. But they'll be like, we'll give you 1 free lesson, or we'll give you 2 free lessons. Or that's not enough time to know if they're going to want to dedicate at least a year to paying an expensive $200 a month fee to this gym just to do that. Like, because what if they just want to quit going there? What if they just decide it's not for them? Well, too bad. We got you on a contract. You owe us now, whether you come and use our service or not. Can you imagine if you went to McDonald's and you had to sign a contract just to eat lunch with them? And like, well, you have to eat lunch here every day. You have to pay every month in advance for a year. And if you don't come, we're still going to collect the money. I mean, the way these companies do business, it's unreal.
But I think what Brian was saying is, like the USB internet and stuff.
Oh, I heard
But
those are crap,
but
though.
they're not really good. I mean,
Those
I think especially for what we need, because we have to like for YouTube uploading
or
videos.
download.
Yeah, so
You
that's-
can't use those things. Like, most of those things are garbage. I tested a couple, and like most people will tell you, those aren't very good. Like, if you try, I mean, if I was going to upload a YouTube video from those, I mean, YouTube videos, especially depending on the file size, they take a long time, even with fairly fast internet. But with those things, it could be like 12 hours, 20 hours just to upload a 4 or 5 minute video. And definitely if we had that, this would be impossible to do a broad stream. It's hard enough with this buy and tell internet that we're on, but
yeah. So hopefully they just get better.
Dank says, I'm a manager at a McDonald's in Idaho. Let me tell you, if that happened to you in my restaurant, I or one of my fellow assistant managers would buy you and your family dinner.
That would be great.
I believe that. I'm always telling her that that they'll do stuff like that, especially if it's a major screw up. Like, let's say you're allergic to onions. Like that, this happened one time. I went to it was Cheesecake Factory in Los Angeles in the Grove, if you know that place. And I was going to order some jambalaya, but before I ordered, I said, "Are there onions in this? Because I'm allergic to them. I can't have onions." And she said, She said, "No, there's no onions in it." And when it came, it was full of onions. And then I told her, "Look, I told you I'm allergic." The meal was free, and it wasn't Cheesecake Factory. Just a meal like that, they're not cheap. It's not like eating at McDonald's. I mean, those are pretty. They're not like the high-end restaurants in LA, but they're not cheap restaurants. A meal there is like $20 or something like that. But he's a manager in McDonald's, and he says like, yeah, it'd be free. Yeah, most McDonald's is that they would give it to you free if you complained. And the thing is, Americans, it's easy for them to abuse that system. And in fact, many Americans do abuse that system and just take advantage. They'll complain over any little thing because they want something for free. But, these companies, they always err on the side of the customer. Even if they know the customer is being unreasonable, they'll do that. They'll give the bad customer something free just to make sure. I mean, the service in America is so good. Yeah, and some McDonald's, they do have bad employees. They have bad service. But the thing is, if you make it known to the upper levels what happened, and if you have a legitimate complaint, they will make it right. They will go out of their way to make it right. So I mean, most companies won't do that in the Philippines. And I'll say this, I'm not being paid to say it. There's one company in the Philippines we had that experience with, and they handled it the American way. It is a franchise of an American restaurant. Taco Bell, I mean, they're not paying me to say this, but the way we became friends with those people is I was eating there at one point every day, spending lots of money there, and I ordered my tacos, no lettuce, extra cheese, and I pay extra for extra cheese. And that day they pretty much gave me almost nothing, even though I paid for extra cheese. And we went to the manager, and she sees us in there every day. She knows we're loyal customers. We went to the manager and we said, "Look, we showed her the receipt. I paid for extra cheese. This is actually very little cheese. Normally I get more than this." And she just looked at it and she said, "That's the standard amount." That was her answer. That was it to someone that eats there every day. She said, "That's the standard amount," even though it was less than what I normally get. And I'm paying for it. I'm paying extra. And they gave me so little. But she said, "That's the standard amount." And my attitude is, well, you know what? I'm not the standard customer. So, and I don't want to be treated like, if that's how you treat, first of all, even someone that is a standard customer, why not give them good service? especially if they're trying to pay extra to get something, but to tell me that's the standard, I demand. This is a very American attitude. Some people might think arrogant, but I don't consider myself the standard Taco Bell customer because I spent a ton of money in there and I want to be treated better than standard. And for her to do that to me was very unacceptable. And I said to you right then and there, I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just said, okay, I guess that's the service we get here. And if that's how they treat a customer that spent a lot of money, and this is coming from a manager, I said, honestly, I don't want to eat here anymore, and I'm completely turned off by it. And you agreed, but I said, let's just write Taco Bell a letter, not being mean, but just explaining to them. And I wrote an email, and we put our contact information. I said, I want you to know that I love Taco Bell. I eat there pretty much every day, but this is what happened. I order extra cheese on my taco every day. This day I got very little, and I said, your manager, and I named her. I said, I asked for more because I said it's very little, and I showed that I paid for extra.
We explained what happened.
Yeah, in a nice way, and it's not like I'm trying to get the gal in trouble or anything like that.
It's like
but
a
it's
point
my
for
explanation,
improvement.
and I want to say, well, it wasn't that. I just wanted to let him know, look, you're losing. I just want you to know you're losing a customer. I wasn't trying to be cocky or act like, I'm hurting you or something like that. I just want to explain and let them know because if maybe they don't know this is going on in their restaurant. I said, this is what happened. She said, that's the standard amount, even though it was very little and I paid for extra. I said, I just want you to know I don't want to go after spending all this money in Taco Bell and they even know who I am in there. I don't want to go back after that. That's how I feel. And I was polite in the letter. And then within a day or two, the phone rings. It's Taco Bell. And they said, we want to meet with you guys. Can you come to our other branch? We'll buy you dinner. We want to talk about this. And we met someone from the company that sat down with us and talked, not just about the internet. We just calmly explained our insight. But we also talked about other stuff. We talked about my videos and stuff like that and had a good time. He said, look, you have anything, he told us, you have anything you want. That was a day that I had a very expensive Taco Bell. I showed up hungry, and I ate. And all the things at Taco Bell that were the more expensive stuff that I'd never tried before because, living on a budget or whatever, those are the days I'm like, let's try this today. So we spent the meal was $30 or something. That's an expensive meal, even if it's for two people. $30 at Taco Bell.
He was
I pigged out that day.
It was so cool because it's on us. So I was like, really? So that was fun.
But we became friends with some people from Taco Bell after that.
They're nice.
And had a good. But I was so impressed that they decided because most Filipino restaurants or companies they would not do that. And I'm like, whoa, they really have high. It shows that Taco Bell in the Philippines they have such high standards. Their standards are actually higher, especially even for cleanliness and stuff. They do things. I have the one video where I make tacos back there. And I can tell you, it is so clean back there. They do things to a T by the book in terms of their standards. And I'm not being paid to say this, but
it's the truth.
But I can tell you that it's clean, and they had high custom. I was so impressed that they took my complaint seriously, and that they didn't want to turn off someone. And because of that, I kept going back there, all the time, and they spent lots more money there. So
it's fattening though.
In the long run, they got a lot more money out of me. So them spending for that expensive meal that they
it was worth
treated
it for
us
them.
to. God, before that they made so much money off of me, and after that they made so much money off it. So I don't feel bad, but I was very impressed with the way they handled that.
Hi to Dan1280. He just joined a few minutes ago, I think. And then from Gabriel Aquino, he said, Travis, I was talking with you guys. Hold on, I have to go down again.
It jumped up people.
Yep, because we're getting more comments. Thank you everyone for joining us.
There's a comment I think about In and Out.
Yeah, hold on. But the first thing he said was, hold on, I'm going back. That Gabriel Aquino said, I was talking with you guys last month through comments. I bought 2 big bags of Twizzlers, but I was so busy to send you a message. Really? Wow, that's so nice. He loves Twizzlers, as you.
She likes them much less than me, but I grew up eating them, and it's an American thing. If it's hard. It's weird because there's things that like someone considers delicious, but if you introduce someone that grew up without it and they're from another culture, having them experience it is very different. Kind of like how a lot of Americans act when they see Filipino food the first time. They're like, ugh. And they're like, why is it purple?
I'm not grossed out by Twizzlers. It's just that
You're not grossed out, but you're
I
not
think
crazy about
I think
them.
I'm not too much into like candies. I like chocolates.
Yeah, I don't really like
Better.
chocolates, but I used to work in a chocolate factory briefly, but I don't like
But your
chocolate.
Twizzlers will really be good, so I can have more because most of the Twizzlers we got,
What, what,
he ate
what
them.
was that other question that I just referenced
It's
that I can't see
top.
right now? Oh, In and Out. Someone
Yeah.
asked about In and Out. I saw as you were scrolling.
I think that's also Gabriel.
In and Out is a popular California
You
burger
missed
joint.
that, he said.
Do I miss it? I don't eat there much in California unless someone else wants to go there. Me, I could take it or leave it if I'm going to have a fast food burger. Honestly, it's usually McDonald's. McDonald's, because you can get like those McDoubles for $1, which is a pretty good sized burger for very cheap. But as what I was going to say about In and Out is they have a knockoff here in Quezon City of In and Out that we ate there. Someone took us there. An associate took us there a couple months back. They have an imitation In and Out here, but it's a lot more expensive than the In and Outs in California. I mean, it's nice. It's nicer probably than the average In and Out in California, but it is costlier. It's more expensive. The food is more expensive than In and Out, but they completely replicated the formula. It's exactly the same, a complete knockoff. It's good. I mean, it's not cheap though, especially because you're used to those California prices for In and Out, and then here the exact same thing. But hey, that's how a lot of things are here. A lot of things here are just more expensive. People say it's cheap to live in the Philippines. God, and like I mentioned, I'm going to have that CDR King video coming out because it's one of the few places you can buy some cheap electronics. Because generally, electronics here, you buy a Sony TV in the Philippines, you buy the same model in the United States, it's going to be significantly cheaper in the U.S. to buy. For one thing, there's no Amazon.com here where you can get those good deals. There's a lot of these big internet things, like someone mentioned Hulu earlier. They don't have that here. Netflix. There's no Netflix in the Philippines. Not available here. You can't subscribe to it here. There's no Amazon. In the Philippines, it's so crazy because if you want something, you have to actually go to a physical store and pay whatever they're asking for it.
They have those guys here, but I think not like us.
Internet stuff. They don't have
Online
anything like
shopping.
It's not like Amazon. They don't have anything. You don't know. Trust me. There's nothing like Amazon. Amazon is awesome, even though they are accused of abusing their employees lately, overworking their employees in their factories, but because they have that's a company that has very high standards about pleasing their customers, but they say they overwork their employees at their factories because if you order something through Amazon Prime, they are not going to get that thing to you late. They're going to get that thing to you immediately through the mail. Like they're going to get it to you through Amazon Prime. They're going to have that on your doorstep within a day or two. So, but to do that, they have to have plants all over the United States, so they're never too far away from anyone that orders things. And they make employees supposedly work very long hours, and they claim that it's too hard to work. I mean, I saw a story on the news about that. Here in the Philippines, well, first of all, I'm the only one watching that news program because it's the American news, like from ABC or whatever. There's so many shows here that I'm pretty sure I'm the only one I don't even really watch TV in America, but here I watch more TV. But there's so many shows here that I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the Philippines that actually watches them. Like The Tonight Show, I can't imagine having a big following in the Philippines. I may have been the only viewer of The Tonight Show here. There's a lot of shows like that. I like Inside Edition, although I think that would appeal to a wider audience even here because it's such sensationalistic stuff.
Ronnie Rodriguez, hi to Helinda.
He says Del Taco is cheap. Yes, it is, but it's garbage in my opinion. I mean, I haven't ate there much. I can't really judge it. I was never a fan. I don't eat at Taco Bell in the United States. I mean, in the U.S., there's much more options for diversity and diversity for cheap food too. There's much more. Here for diversity, you're gonna have to spend more mid-level prices. You're not gonna get and here even Taco Bell is considered a middle class. Taco Bell is considered more for the elite class, which is weird because in America it's the cheapest food and they're always in the worst possible neighborhoods. Like in America, here like Taco Bell is more of a fancy restaurant. In the United States, you're afraid to eat inside Taco Bell. You don't know what's going to come. You never know what's going to go down when you're inside a Taco Bell, and especially in a place like Los Angeles or Detroit, they're scary places. You're going to get the food at the drive-thru. There's no way you're going to sit down there and try and relax and eat it.
Are there no security guards?
In Los Angeles, yeah, in Los Angeles, like a lot of fast food restaurants have to do that because some of them are in bad neighborhoods, especially like Taco Bell's or McDonald's or Jack in the Box. In and Out are usually in better I guess In and Out, I think they appeal to a little bit more sophisticated crowd because you don't really see those in the thug neighborhoods. They don't really have the need for like security guard. You don't really see security guards at In and Out because they're in better neighborhoods. So In and Out, I guess it does. Maybe I'm not classy enough to be an In and Out man, but I didn't grow up in California either. So to me, it's just like I said, if you don't grow up with the food, something that some people are crazy about, you don't quite fully get the appeal. And Californians are so proud of In and Out Burger, but when you move there and you didn't grow up with it, you're just kind of like, it's okay. It's okay. I still go McDonald's or I only have In and Out if other people want it. A lot of people want it in California. Also, they have long lines a lot of the time, depending on the location and the time of day. Okay.
Jan 1280 said, my wife who's from Pasay City always gets sick of Taco Bell.
Sick off.
Sick of Taco
She
Bell.
gets sick because of it.
Okay, I'm not wearing my glasses. Hold on.
Oh, he means in America. No, she gets sick at Taco Bell in America.
Where is that? I lost it. Hold
He
on.
said his wife is from Pasay City, but I guess she's in the United States now. She gets sick. I don't eat at Taco Bell in America. I really don't. Taco Bell to me would be a pretty rare thing to do in the United States. I mean, here I'm much more prone to it.
Yeah, guys, sorry, I'm not sure. Maybe it was when I press this, it kind of, makes noise. So let's just use this, like this arrow button.
Did I see Jimmy Fallon's latest Neil Young impersonation? Yeah, he's always good at those, whether he's doing Bruce Springsteen or Neil Young or like Eddie Vedder. He's always good. Walang to Lagan.
What time is it? I haven't really noticed.
Is he saying like that, or is he referencing the TV show?
It's either.
Which I've been on a number of times.
He's referring to the TV show. Yes, he guessed it there like many times.
That was actually the first.
Because it's late already.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. The first Filipino TV show that I was ever on was Walang Tulagan, and that was in 2005, late 2005. That was I think that was before my modeling thing that I did that we were referencing earlier.
Yeah.
I was a guest on Walang Tulagan. And that I just got on from a friend that was going to be a guest, and they pulled me on and interviewed me. And I've been on it several times since it. The last time was last December when my movie was in theaters.
Yeah. Ronnie, it's Galinda. Hi, Galinda or Galinda. Thank you for joining us.
And from here, as much fun as this is, we've been going a long time. So I'm going to want to close it out. We went way too long. Is there anything you want to say real quick before we go?
We just want to say thank you to our dearest patrons. If you're not yet a patron and you want to be part of this big thing that we really want to, this big thing that we're working on, I mean, just to keep making fun videos, entertaining, informative videos for you. And you can check this out. Please support patreon.com/craft. That's it. And simply make a pledge. And your support will really mean a lot. And of course, as a thank you, you'll also get to watch the documentary that we shot in Burgos Street, Makati, that has been controversial because of the teaser on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. But like what I said, it's an educational, informative, entertaining experience that you'll have, I guess, out of watching it.
You know, I'm going to have some exclusives up there.
Aside
To
from
the
that
patrons,
video.
I communicate with the patrons pretty much every day. I give them priority in my life. I get so many emails every day from all around the world, and it's hard to read all of them. There's so many. It's hard to write them all back. It just takes so much time. But I give my patrons top priority, and this
You're
is
still
this.
there, of course,
I'm
there's
thankful
still-
that we didn't really seem to have as many technical glitches tonight on
Tonight,
this. We didn't really.
Thank God.
We didn't really discuss the usual stuff because normally when we do these, we talk about a wide range of diverse topics. It's kind of like a podcast. It's just really fun and we get pretty deep into some interesting stuff. But I'm working on some new stuff coming out that I'm trying to get it out. Like I said, the CDR King video will probably be released on Patreon a week before it's out for everyone. And just scanning the comments.
I'd really love to read all your comments, but yeah, if we miss them, sorry.
Yeah, if we missed if we missed anyone's question or comment, sorry about that. I was trying to get through some things.
And we love,
Trying not to be distracted like I always get.
we love giving some love to all of you and to the patrons who are supporting us to keep doing this for you guys.